Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another playdate of Season X for ESA, and it is starting to heat things up. I'm McCritty. Joining me today is Mighty. We have an exciting time because not only is unlimited overtime now in play, we're now starting to heat things up as we get to the second half of this bracket, aren't we?
We're definitely looking to go forward to the finals. We only have a few more matches remaining for this Season X, and that also concludes with, for my end, unfortunately, this is my last and final dance with ESA for Season 10. Let's see what happens afterwards.
It will be a shame that it's the last one we're going to get, but we're going to make sure it's a good one. Today, we have got going up against, as you can see on the title, LDL Valour going up against Team Synq. Now, LDL Valour, they got knocked down to the lower bracket by Ghost Army last week, and Team Synq, on the other hand, they've been fighting their way through that lower bracket, haven't they?
They definitely forced themselves through the lower bracket there. Tried to determine themselves after they also dropped down. Both teams pretty much looking good, look pretty good in the first up standards when we had the switch system. They fought through multiple rounds, and it was like pretty predictable that these teams would get this far. I think it was an open book for both teams to drop down into the lower, but it has to be happening since we just know what a force we are reckoned with both Molotov Gang and also Team Ghost Army out there. But let's focus a little bit back. We are on the maps. We have the best of three. We're having Nighthaven, Concept, and a potential map of Skyscraper ahead of us. And I have to say, for Team Synq, they have definitely done the homework on LDL. LDL's best two maps is Bank and Border. These are the two first bans coming in from Synq. Otherwise, we're having maps that both teams fit very good on. Nighthaven is one of the best maps of LDL with a 15-9 win to loss. Consulate is one of the best maps for Synq with an 11-5, and Skyscraper is a map where they're both like pretty much equal on. So this potentially is up to be a very good match. Either way, I still have to say that LDL has a good opportunity to take it home on Consulate since they're having a 20-6 scoreline also on Consulate. So they're good. They're determined themselves that they can't perform well on these maps. So Synq definitely has a hard opponent in front of them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 20 picks for the side of Constellus. That's really looking strong for them. But LDL Valour on Nighthaven Labs, last time we saw them last week, they were confident, they were strong, but there were some problems they had where they just had to iron out a few kinks in their setup, make sure that they weren't letting teams just walk into these problem areas, these little chinks in the armor that Ghost Army were able to find. So for Nighthaven, I really expect to see them being able to tighten those things up and start to improve them. Like you say, though, it's going to be a very exciting game that we find ourselves going into. Like you say, Nighthaven, Consulate, and Skyscraper are possible three maps, and thankfully, a couple of maps that you don't necessarily tend to see, thanks to Bank and thanks to Border being taken away, alongside the Clubhouse and the Lair. Nighthaven, LDL have taken the pick on that one, so Team Synq will get the pick of what side they go on. What do you expect to see once we go into Nighthaven?
Ooh, what I attempt to see is we see a lot of multiple elevations defense holds from the teams. In the defense, we also tend to see a lot of ways to pick shields. For example, you have to pick certain operators to gain access to areas, also to lock down areas. So I'm pretty much interested to see what the first bans will give, if they give more likely the operators of saying we ban out a Blackbeard, we ban out a Monty, or maybe also a Dokkaebi or a Ying for takes. That makes it a little bit easier for the attackers. Meanwhile, I'm also a little bit interested in seeing what the strat for the attacking team here of Team Synq will be forwards to the defense. Do they either ban more or less operators for Azami, Fenrir to make it a little bit easier to enter certain areas, or are they just front on for facing towards the breach and say, okay, let's ban out a Tubra or a Cade, a Bandit, a Mute, something like that?
Yeah, exactly. And the Blitz being taken off the board really does make a lot of sense for me. I mean, it's a very fast operator, very strong on map control. Team LDL Valour, they don't really want to deal with it. They can keep the Blackbeard in the gun, but that Blitz shield and the flashbang has been taken away. Ace is going to be joining them on the attack. There's going to be a lot of fluidity in terms of hard breach. It can get them down. It can stop a bandit trick if it's paired with a Thatcher perfectly. It looks like Team Synq just don't want to deal with that. Yazami's going to follow as well, and I think Rafters on that top floor is really what's screaming out to me with that ban.
Yeah, definitely. And that was also the thing that I wanted to mention in here. If Team Synq goes for an operator ban in form of a zombie or Fender, they're pretty much determined to go into these face first or like face-to-face attacks. They wanted to pretty much ramp it up and take certain areas to just forwardly conclude their force push onto the side. They're not eager, saying, okay, we will have problems with opening breaches, so we have to ban out a Cade or a Tubra, as I mentioned earlier. They're just more lastly focusing on which operators could break down our pace or like our strategic game plan the most, and that favor might be the Azami.
Okay, so for me here going into this game, I've not actually seen Team Synq play before. What are you for somebody who might just be looking at this team for the first time? What are some of the things we might need to highlight and might need to keep an eye on? Because I know you said those face-on-face engagements, and a Blackbeard kind of fits into it perfectly.
Yeah, you have to watch into the meta, of course. Teams will play meta operator. You see Pizza already on the Blackbeard. He will definitely bring that Mayhem operator. That operator that is so strong in the current meta. But else, I pretty much have to say, you look onto the teams in their stats every single time, and the way that they conclude rounds, the way where they win rounds and lose out rounds, both Team LDL and Synq are good on both ends, but both teams tend to be aggressive when necessary and have the eye to be a little more passive when they can be. I think the explosive aggressiveness from Team Synq, from the players into Team Synq, might be one of the biggest catches that LDL has to look out for, since they're very explosive in their takes, how they perform in the attacks. So if they have a surprise momentum where they can catch you off guard, they'll definitely attempt to try and do so.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you spot something like that, and like I said, LDL Valour, they actually struggled to deal with that against Ghost Army last week. So if Team Synq can read into it, especially with operators like the Ying that they were teasing, the Blackbeard they were looking to bring, but definitely with that Sentry and Ash, they can really get in there and cause some damage. At the moment, though, that's not going to be the case just for now. Looks like Team Synq, they're just going to start applying a little bit of pressure, see what's what, see who's where, and get some drone information. Maybe get this breach open, because yes, it's strong running into a breach, it's strong running into a site, but only when you know what's waiting for you, that you have the ability to back it up. And that's why we're seeing all this work being done. The C4 is ready in IT. It won't find its mark if it gets anything, but it's the Hubana that's going to open IT there. Gets that mirror window open as well. It's an extra little headshot hole for the attacking side. And you see a bit of damage going on to Unser and Zachariah. They'll both be taken down by Pizza and Fod as they start to walk through and get the first kills of this quarter, this lower bracket semi-final or quarterfinal that we find ourselves in. A minute off the clock already, Ryu, and we can see the Ashes down below ready to deal with utility and maybe walk up some stairs.
Could potentially walk up some stairs, but we are looking for the second mirror window first. We are doing some vertical work. That's also a big key impact factor for that map of Nighthaven. We have a lot of wooden floorage, a lot of breakable floorage there. We can get easy and good visibility and access forward into the sites on multiple elevations. That is coming in here by unfolds with the Ash, also knocking out that second mirror window. So you just see the possibilities in both man count and also positioning are shrunken in for LDL. Team Synq is just pretty much trying to suppress the area where LDL can move, like where they feel comfortable in their own skin. And that's a pretty big impact. Just turn the defenders into their own attack and they're pretty on.
Yeah, now Luna will be able to find Fod, but Pizza's there with the trade very quickly, pushing that fish side. This means that fish is opened up, and now Luna has to watch the back side. Ilias, though, has two angles they need to watch. They need to hold that garage, they need to hold that IT. And from Connected, they might be able to do so, but now they need to find 4 kills as Luna Wall will fall. Team Synq, a very strong start. The Deimos Death's Mark tracker comes out, and Pete closes it down, and a very comfortable round for Team Synq. They got the early picks, they got the lines of sight open, and then they had the verticality to get the pressure in as well, Mighty. That was very comfortable for them.
Very comfortable, and you just have to mention it the way it is. They didn't have any struggles to either enter the map, play forwards onto the breaches, but then also they did not have any force on the other end from LDL to just move and conclude forward after the game plan. You just say how comfortable they were with both the Rafters take going in from the breaches into IT. Also, the push that they put on over to Waterfall Stairs was so easy and comfortable looking for Team Synq that shouldn't have been any problem to knock down and also conclude down that round.
Right, okay, so now looking towards this next site, it seems that LDL Valour, they want to go there again. They want to try and fix up some of the issues, and I think I got to agree. Team Synq were given a lot of freedom and a lot of kind of comfort when it comes to getting in that verticality, getting the breach open. There wasn't much pressure from any roamers or lurkers from LDL, and that might be the case. Yes, you did have the opportunity for Ilias to be playing over towards Nectar, trying to apply a little bit of pressure, but it wasn't really there. Now they're in an interesting position. They've got that Banshee on that Rafters door. That's to stop those players from just swinging in and dealing with that Ash Barrack, that mirror window. And then they've got the Melusi Barricade to back it up. Big thing I want to look at now is Harv sat towards his bottom cargo stairs. Here's the repels, here's the players nearby. He isn't going to jump out just yet, so you know there probably are a couple of players waiting for them. But as Peter Synq goes into his cam, that might be a great opportunity to jump out. Boris drones will start to do their utility, start to try and get these jammers off the wall, trying to get this bandit charges as well, and make the attackers in a position to get this breach open and start moving forward. The drone does come through. That does mean that Harv has been spotted, and as a result, that means that Peter's going to be aware of this if Harv tries to push. The Dr. BCN further giving away that position will have to move that player backwards. You can see they've already left, they've already run away, because now Team Synq know, right, Mighty, they have to deal with this roamer, they have to be aware of it, and that's going to burn down time at the 2-minute mark.
And you already see now how much the adjustment has come in from LDL's side of perspective. You're not giving Team Synq any given ground to just freely enter and then roam through and also within the building. Yes, Harv here will fall down to the ground and will most likely be finished. If not, Zachariah is there to save the day yet once and over. Fought with a lot of damage taken. Can't conclude Harv there, but I will in the second event. Zachariah there still in good health, has nothing to lose so far. Well, like as I just mentioned, LD immediately picked up the pace, immediately did some adjustments and just said, okay, Synq, you had one easy round where you can just join in on the fun and have the fun for yourselves, but we will not give that once more. But either way, Team Synq does not seem any type of impressed by this so far, as they gain a double lead in man count once again.
Exactly, like you say, that vertical underneath from Unfouls, finding the kill onto Lunar Wall and taking away that mirror window again. Play this in a 3 versus 5. The Damo scan, the Jackal scans start to come out, giving away the position of Zachariah, who doesn't have that C4. They backed up and played it on sight. But now LDL, they're in a difficult spot to find themselves in. Pizza will not take any damage over towards Electrical. They'll take a couple of steps. But now they know where Melusi is. They have a rough idea of where that bandit is as well, thanks to the Jackal. With 30 seconds to get down, Team Synq are going to start gently closing in. He's able to find the kill onto Zacharias. A bit more damage goes out, but Ilias finding the head of Vod will have a little bit of an answer over towards Electrical. Unfouls snaps back just as quickly, and now 4 versus 1. Solo's going to close that out, and another comfortable round for Team Synq. But LDL, like to say, they adapted a little bit more. They started to react a lot better, didn't they?
They react a little better. They had some adjustments taken in perspective, but it was not enough for this type of retake, I would consider to say. Yes, you bought a lot of time on the clock for Team Synq, but Synq is just too efficient as soon as they enter the building and also then continue forwards into their utility and also get you clear onto the defenders of the map. They have gained the access to the map. They've gained focus on where they want to be and which type of time scale as well. And it just is too much to have in mind for LDL to take that back. As Synq once again just shows, if you allow us in the building and we get the room that we needed, we're definitely not needing 30 minutes of time to do the final take on Synq.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Harv being able to waste that much time was good. It would have been a bit nicer if they could get him back to side, but it happens. It is what it is. And at the end of the day, Zachariah was able to get close and try and contest it, but didn't overextend and give away too much.
10 seconds
Again,
left.
with that pressure, with that player being pushed off that position, there wasn't as much pressure towards that verticality, which is why we're seeing, which is why we saw that mirror window get taken down and that player fell as well. But now, here's the thing, Mighty, we're going to head to that basement, which means it's different. We can change things up. Team Synq haven't seen this setup before, and they don't know how to deal with it as far as we know. But I would wager they've done their research, as they know that they're going to have to do that storage clear. Just before that meat jammer goes down, it spots that meat's playing there. And now they know that Insurgent's there with the shotgun. They can be a lot more aware of this. They know they can take the verticality and they can put the pressure on. And if they do, they will most likely find the rest of the LDL defense.
It most certainly will. But let's take a close minute here and just look upon the stats a little bit more from this map in particular. Nighthaven is the map that so often is determined with saying, okay, the defense has to pull rounds here before they go into the second half. You win this map in the defense, and so far you're not seeing that from LDL, especially not when you have to take in participation that most maps of Nighthaven conclude with a 4-2 first half for the sake of the defenders. Meanwhile here, we have the first lead for LDL taken in. LDL now with a 5-3 scenario. Maybe they're possible here to pull off their first round as they pull it on to the 5-2, 5-1 as Harvard's also joining the party in the fun against Vod. And Luna makes it a flawless one. What a response from LDL.
Very well played. I mean, LDL, they had the roamers, they had the positions they needed to be in, but then Team Synq, they would just go to try and push in EXO and get in fast. The Blackbeard leading the charge there, but LDL turned on it. They were aware. Zachariah and Luna really turned around and just became a brick wall that Team Synq could run into. Very nicely done. As soon as that edge of the spear got broken, blunted, that's when the rest of the roamers started to come and collapse. That's when they found those kills, and it was all down to that Maverick. So around on the board for LDL, they're not going to go into that danger zone of 3-3 just yet, but that is a risk they have to consider as they are now on the back foot on this defensive side. I'm going to go to this CEO storage side, and I like this site for the same reason I like reading Dining on Kaf Dostoevsky. It is a top floor hold until the last 30 seconds. But with this one, there's a lot more focus over towards this garage side and the rafters, and that does affect how the roam play goes on upstairs. I want to see how Team Synq are going to cut off LDL. I mean, they've got to have a plan for it. You see the operator swaps are coming out now, so they've got a rough idea. A couple of lurks, a couple of Bravo scans, they might be able to get some information. What is the play here for Team Synq?
I have to say I'm a little bit unsure what play is, what the catch is, and especially what the adaptation might be. The first adaptation that we see is that Luna is placing his mirror windows a little bit otherwise than he has done before, and the biggest key impact factor that interests me is how dearly does LDL have the mind on both defending basement, also the mid-floor. As soon as you lose mid-floor, you have an insanely huge problem. Yes, you can withhold it well from above, but as soon as you lose the control from down below, you're pretty much hunting for chickens in the top floor there.
Yeah, and it's so tough to actually go for that retake, isn't it? Now, over towards them here and the now, as opposed to the late round, we can see Team Synq start to get this breach open. Ilias with the C4 is ready and waiting for somebody to be there, but isn't going to do any damage with that VOD. Just carefully, just going to back things up. We'll be aware of that player there, so now they're going to go on the upside down rappel, try and watch the cutoff, but that player is rotated off. A bit of damage onto Ilias, but not enough to find that kill just yet. And that will be the breach starting to open up to IT. Ilias will have to try to drop down or play the gunfight. Zachariah wants one of their own. You see the bandit drops down. They need to make sure, like you say here, Mighty, that they have that mid-floor control. And Ilias finding under falls will be able to start that off just now.
And that's one of the biggest operators that you can pull out there as a beginner. That's the Nook going through the Ross, and Luna is also there to help out both his teammates, but himself as well. Putting out solo there. That's the next operator that will definitely hurt in the approach further, both onto the side but also onto the top floor there as the Dokkaebi falls. We have to try and restrain something, has to force something in the first interaction, but Harv there as well gets on Pete and takes on the next good and great round for Team LDL, as also VOD falls in the hands of Harv there with a few, some more likely looking as a drop shot, Pizza getting alive, but then also Luna's there to trade it out. And that is the complete comeback from LDL, going up to a 2-2 equal scoreline after being down 0-2.
Yeah, they did the right thing there, Mighty. They lost the first site twice. They said, right, something's wrong. We haven't fixed it, so let's just try and get some rounds on the board where we need them. Like you say, you need to have those rounds. So they went down below, they won that round, they went to that second site, and they were able to win that out very comfortably, very strongly. And yes, they lost one or two players, but at that point, by the time they're losing players, there wasn't a problem. The impact kills were there, the kind of game sense and where they need to be was there. I feel like they've got a good chance at winning this site out, but this is where we need to see the change. This is where Team Synq have been confident, and this is where they've been able to pick apart these early kills. I think, again, it's the verticality. Even if we see maybe the mirror have a different angle on the verticality, not necessarily one that gives away that mirror window over towards rafters, but at least a vertical angle that puts pressure on somebody trying to go down below and deal with it. Because that's twice we've seen a big issue in the defense just from that vertical there. So I'd like to see that change. If that's going to happen, well, we'll find out one way or another. Team Synq have to attack this site for the 3rd time, my team.
5 seconds to go.
Yeah. Synq has to attack it for the 3rd time, and I will pretty much say it's like a 50-50 now. LDL has a lot to adjust upon and also try to find alternative conclusions of how they want to go into the rounds, how they want to defend the site, especially as you mentioned the mid floor. They had a huge amount of struggles with, but in the same, it also counts for Team Synq as they are not having the grounds to do the same attack that they have done twice now for the 3rd time since, yeah, 3 times maybe the charm, but not in this take, because it will be way too obvious for both LDL and Synq to do it once more, especially now as LDL seem to have picked up a lot of pace here and also have kind of picked up how Team Synq functions and how Team Synq ticks in their heads with the strategic thoughts.
Yeah, I think Team Synq, they've thought about this and they've realized the 3rd round in a row, they need to be aware, because look at this. LDL have somebody downstairs trying to deal with them, and they're going to be able to do that. Lunar Wall finds that pick, finds that Ash, and now suddenly that verticality has just been made a lot harder for the attackers to really get control of, and now the defense have a much better position to find themselves in. Kind of blunting that little bit of a chink in the armor we were talking about. That's been taken away now. So, going up to that, going into the rest of this round, you can see that Lunar Wall has dropped down, aware of Retribution, but able to find Pizza, gets the kill onto the Deimos, and now a 5 versus 3. Even if Luna dies now, a 6-2 KD, a 6-3 KD, that's not bad. But LDL Valour now have a 2-player advantage and half the round off the clock, so very comfortable for them. But here's the cutoff. Now, Lunar Wall's going to try and make it back to site. It's not the end of the world if they don't, but if they can, it'll be even better. But here's the cutoff. Fod is waiting down below in that game's lounge area. Is waiting, aware that this person is trying to go back to site, but isn't looking. They are looking the right way. Lunar Wall didn't go up the main lobby. They don't know that that player's there, but it doesn't matter because Half finds Pete, and that means Fod realizes, oh, the bullet's gone off. They've run away. Right, okay, I've kind of missed that. They're able to get back to site. Solo and Fod now in the 2 versus 5. 1 minute left and Util flying over towards Solo. It's not going to be from them. It's all down to the Maverick to get a 3rd round on the board for the attack here. This is looking much better than the first 2 rounds we saw before. And as Zachariah closes things out, LDL get a 3rd round. And on the 3rd time of asking, we'll get that top 4 site.
That was a juicy last kill there to close out this round. But let's take a few here. Team Synq is struggling. We have to call it the way it is. LDL struggled the very first 2 rounds, but came up with an insanely important answer after round number 2. And I pretty much have to say that Team Synq looks a little bit torn apart. They had focus, they had a mindset, they also had a team play coming in. Both round number 1 and 2, time was good, team play was good. Also, the form, how they wanted to play, and how they wanted to do things step by step worked perfectly fine for them. And they have just completely lost it, I have to say. They're not playing the same as they did in round number 1 and 2. They are ripping apart from each other, having insanely big roomages between themselves as players. They're not playing it all from the same end side. They're not being determining enough if they want to do a top floor take. Do we play on from the mid floor and do it like we have done before? It's a little bit okay, we do a little bit of this and do a little bit of that, and hopefully it works. It looks a little bit, it looks like they had an idea, but they don't have a way to conclude it.
Yeah, I think I have to agree there. I mean, Team Synq now, like you say, they've got those first 2 rounds, which was great. It looked like they were going to get a 3rd round on the board on the attack, but they haven't. And now we're starting to see a 3-3 split as the inevitability. If they're able to really step things up, they have to go back down to this bottom floor site. The big thing here was that they lost these players early on. The roamers for LDL Valour did very, very well, but so did the anchors. They caught the rush attempt, and then everyone just collapsed on them. Roam clear again is going to be so important for this, because if they can get control of site and those roamers come thundering down those stairs and thundering down the hatches and even just using the vert that buck might make, that's where the round would really start to fall apart. Information starts to come through, are aware of the player above them, realizing they need to back up because verticality is a big danger, alongside the Dockery scan that they know is going to be up there as well. As you see Unfold start to walk through the Jackal scan, giving them the information. They're going to try and get this player with the help of Fod. They're going to rotate off, understandably. That scan gives away the position, and the defenders know it, so they don't need to peek that. They play it safe. All they need to do, Mighty, is to make the attackers aware, because if the attackers know that somebody's there and they haven't dealt with it, that means they have to waste more time. Fod is able to find half, though, and will start things out with the first kill on their side. For the first time in a while, actually, as Pete's able to answer with a kill onto Luna as well. Now LDL, this is where things start to turn around. They don't have as many players on site.
Yeah, but what is the difference from Team Synq now to the previous 20 rounds? Team Synq is back with the mindset. They're back with the idea of saying, okay, let's do a top floor clear. As soon as we say we have a top floor clear, we're droning out in the first floor. We're droning down the staircases into the basement to give our first floor players, our first floor encounter players that search and want to lure out these roamers in LDL's favor. We're giving them intel to act upon it. And that's the big difference. You have a total clear. The top floor clear began, was concluded, it furtherized, structurized, went down into the first floor, and there you searched and found Mayhem and gave it directly to LDL. Firstly with Harv, then with Sakurai, then with Lunar. You're not giving LDL the grounds to roam back up and try to force a second gunfight with you, because you're bringing the fight to them every single time.
Exactly. Now, walking up those cargo stairs, Ilias is going to try and find an opportunity to flank and an opportunity to hit them in the back, but they're going to find the buck away thing. The Unsert with the shotgun finds Pizza, though. And the 1 versus 4, 20 seconds ticking down. This can be done. Not all those attackers are on site, but as the plank starts to go down, we will see this round go almost all the way. Unfolds will find that kill and gets a 3-3 split in favor of the attackers, because now they're going to go to the defense. This is where we're going to see what stepped up, but I've got to agree, that was only the second time we saw Team Synq have to attack that. The first time was a rush that didn't go well. The second time, they shifted it up. They did the roam clear, they got the information, and that was it. Realistically, I feel like going onto this defensive side, Team Synq have an advantage, but LDL, they know how to attack Nighthaven. This isn't a map that they struggle with that much.
Definitely not. They're not struggling with it. Neither do LDL, neither do Synq from their stats that we have presented earlier, but neither did them because they showcased other ways. LDL showcased it in round number 3 until round number 5. Meanwhile, Team Synq showcased it in round number 1, 2, and 6. And especially, I have to say, Team Synq now happily made their name count again in round number 6, as they seem to be a little bit more on sync with each other. They were not playing as individuals, they were playing as a team, as a unit, with both tactics but also timing. Timing was a very big impact for them in round number 1 and 2, how they went in and how they say, okay, we're doing things staged. We're first trying to get some intel, then we're trying to destroy and lure out the gadget and utility from our opponents, and then we are concluding onto the side. That went perfectly well for them in round number 1 and 2. They dropped it out in round 3 to 5 and got it back in round number 6. So hopefully the synchronization between the mates here at Team Synq sticks upon, because that was pretty much what it took them to win these rounds.
Team Synq, they've not played this map as much as LDL have so far in the ESA season. Next, I mean, they've only played it 3 times, I believe, and they've got around about the same percentage of win rate as LDL, if not slightly better. LDL have played it a total of 24 times, though. So that's a big, big difference in the actual stats as opposed to the win percent in general. Is LDL have got a lot more experience in ESA playing this, and right now they're going to show that. They've got that breach open over towards Connector side, they've got the pressure towards Map Room, and now Team Synq are already starting to feel their presence. You've got Pete with that shotgun over towards electrical, sorry. They're going to hold that position. They're going to do so quite comfortably. That shotgun really, really works when it comes to holding this angle, and they'll get that opportunity to swim in just a moment. They don't want to overextend, though, because Uncert's going to be able to take advantage of that from Unfolds and takes that player towards Connector. Pizza has to keep their attention faced towards us so they can spot the jumping. This is something that put off before, but Zachariah finds Pete. And now LDL, they have an opportunity to really start to take control of this. They can jump in through the breach, they can walk in through electrical, but Pizza's going to get taken down. Solar's going to fall as well to Zachariah, who gets their 3rd, and they're going to be looking for their 4th as well. They know where that last player is, and while Ford will get Zachariah, they won't find that last player. The Ash taking them down. LDL Valour taking their first attacking round.
First attacking round taken for LDL, the same way Team Synq did it. They more or less saw the gaps in the operator lineup and also in the positioning that they had in their defense castle buildup, better said in their stronghold, and they just immediately flipped in and smeared themselves through these small glimpse holes that they had, where they had torn themselves up apart. We had a lot of players just roaming into different areas and just waiting for the right moment to click the trigger for Synq. So Synq did not seem to be on position and be up for the challenge when it arrived already.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, Team Synq, that was not as ready. I mean, they had the right things. I mean, I like Pizza looking over towards that connector side, because LDL actually got caught off guard on their defense against Ghost Army, of a player jumping through that connector and catching that defensive setup off guard. But at the end of the day, they lost those players a little bit too early, and it meant that they didn't have enough players to cover the gaps. So hopefully, when they go into this bottom floor, they'll have that. Again, they're going to bring out a couple of players, a couple of operators that might not really go for that hard for that roam game. I'm looking at that Fenrir, the Capcam. You might see that Legion, you might see the Bandit on the roam with the Fenrir. But I'm looking a lot more towards trying to stop LDL from getting confident and getting aggressive. That's what those operators scream out to me. Combine that with the Legion, and you're not rushing at all, let's be honest.
You're not rushing, not at all. But the thing is, the biggest impact here, from my perspective, was LDL. Once again, moved as a unit. Team Synq had 5 individual positionings, and pretty much the communication definitely wasn't where it should be, because there were multiple angles where just LDL could walk up to doorways and just peek in, get a free kill, get a free glance into the site, and just prepare themselves for the take. Meanwhile, Synq didn't caught them off guard. They either got caught off guard by LDL, as they just glimpsed into sight and just said, okay, I will take that freeway, I will take the second freeway as well. If you're not looking and you're not trying to force me, I'll just take it.
I really don't like this. Somebody should be watching that cam from Ilias. They don't know that the Fenrir still sat there over towards that top main stairs. Now they do, but nobody's watching that camera on the side of LDL. They need to be holding that. Jackal needs that information before they take a gunfight. Speaking of information, that's some taken away over towards Fish, as you can just see Fod start to back up. Jackal staying on that top floor means that it's quite simple. Pizza gets that Demo scan out, and while Uncertain will find Unfolds, that's a lot of time and a lot of utility to waste, especially with Pete up above the Capcan. They might not be expecting to be there. Now Fod, with the shotgun, has a good opportunity to kill the Deimos, but is probably not going to deal with it. They're going to back things up, let the C4 in the hand of Solo do the work. And on the top floor, that's what we see, right? Pete's been spotted out, Pete's been located. They need to deal with it. Time ticks down, they're still on the top floor with a minute left to go. They're going to need to deal with the Capcan and then just start dropping down almost straight away. That C4 devilish line up there, but it's not going to have its mark. Ilias and Fod will, as they find those kills, however. On the top floor, Fod's still alive in control. It's going to take a while to get pushed out, and now the attackers, they don't have the time. They just got to start pushing in, and Fod's going to find Uncert.
There's a red ping. There's a red laser on the wall. Elias, meanwhile, runs through and gets a kill on Pete. And I have to say, just to do a quick Fod gets a triple kill. Fod does on a quad kill. What's happening here? It's only lives remaining against Solo and Fod here.
What? How are they letting Fod do this? I mean, they got the Jackal. They can spot these players. They got the Deimos that can push these players out. They're just being caught unawares. And now LDL Valour in a 1 versus 2. Are we going to see the ace from Fod? Probably not, because you let Solar take the gunfight. Solar's not going to be able to win it, though. Will be taken down. And we either see a quad kill to win or an ace. With time ticking down, the scanner going out. It looks like it might be the goo mine that ends it all. No case in pocket. And that's going to be time. Team Synq going to win another round that maybe they shouldn't have had. LDL really gave it away there. They weren't coordinating on these roamers.
I have major struggles to understand what both teams did here. On one hand, LDL, why did they not conclude? They pinged out Pete on that Capcan, and they were 3 guys in of just recklessly forcing him out of this position. Yes, he had to drop the hatch. He opened the hatch and dropped the hatch. It's totally fine. But you had grounds to be much faster in just pushing him out. Meanwhile, to disarm that scenario either way happening at all, Pete had informations from Fod that there's a Deimos on waterfall stairs. He definitely also knew, since Fod were on the waterfall stairs, privately that is no one else there. Meanwhile, also Pete should have heard that there is no one else there. He could have easily forced out the Deimos, so he wouldn't be in a 3 versus 1, but only in a 2 versus 1 scenario that is so often also winnable. But then, if you then drop, withdraw your position, just fall back on side. Just be completely safe with it. Why are you still sticking up yourselves in lounge where you're in the middle of multiple attackers? Then you set yourself, better said, you escape a 3 versus 1 scenario to put yourself in a 4 versus 1 scenario afterwards. Doesn't really make a sense. But then afterwards, also the way LDL did it, they had intel on both Pete, they had intel on Fod, and they completely decided to just, okay, let them leave, let them play, let them be. We will not do them any harm. Doesn't make any sense. When you're bringing, as you mentioned, they had a Deimos and they also had a Jackal. When you're bringing these players, you're screaming, okay, we want to hunt down these roamers, we want to hunt down these players being offside, and that definitely did not happen.
Exactly. Now, a lot to unpack in that round, and a lot for both teams to really think about as well as ourselves. But now, as we go to this garage, to this storage and garage side, this is where I really want to see the step up from Team Synq. LDL and Team Synq both 4 rounds to 4 at the moment. The drones are starting to go through and get the information off the board. LDL Valour, they need to deal with the top floor. Like you said, that top floor is a key position because you can hold a lot of angles. If you do, though, find LDL Valour rushing too quickly into the site and you have too many people upstairs, that can cause a lot of problems when it comes to the retake. It's all about finding that balance. And the C4 goes out trying to tip the balance in one favor. It's not going to land. It's not going to do any damage. It feels like the story of my life saying that with C4s at the moment. But what we are going to see is Fod spotting the players start to run through. The plant is going to start to get down, though, and they don't know where. So that plant goes down, and suddenly LDL Valour have become the defenders, and Falls has a kill, but Synq has taken down as well. And now a 5 versus 3 in favor of the defenders, but look at the time.
Yeah, well, the big problem is here that you have 2 out of 3 players from LDL outside. They're not in close terms to that diffuser, so they're pretty much in a psych position to get that hole with done. There's also Zachariah falls, Har falls. There's only Elias left, and he's also pinged out because he tapped into that Legion Goo, and that will also conclude this round in the favor for Team Synq. Good attentions with a good push onto the site with a quick plant going down, but then everything dropped, everything crumbled with one singular basic thing: do not be too far away from site or have no angle on the diffuser when you're putting it on the ground.
Exactly. That's one of the big problems they have with not taking a top floor hold, is they couldn't use that verticality. They looked into it. They said, right, okay, most of them up above. Let's get on site. Let's get a plan down. Team Synq, they're going to be very careful to make sure that doesn't happen again. But LDL Valour, that was a little bit. It was good, like you say, but then the post plan was when it switched around, and Team Synq were able to get their bearings a little bit better. Maybe having a bit of pressure upstairs when you go for that execute means that they're not as comfortable rotating back, but we'll have to see. Kitchen Dining, a different site again, is we are going to see all 4 sites in this game so far, Mighty, and a lot of teams tend to avoid this one. I mean, I quite like it as a site, but it does relate itself to, once that vertical's gone, that's it. You're not really getting it back. As soon as that meeting starts to get opened up by a ram or a bot, that really is just kind of the name of the game. There's all that site that you're really going to lose, and there's a case of getting that main lobby open. So a lot of comp teams do trend to avoid it, don't they?
Yeah, they do trend to avoid it, and I can't pretty much understand why they're avoiding it, but still, it's also one of the most interesting sites to witness as a caster, as in the audience as well, because automatically, when you lose top floor control and you get these operators in names of a ram, buck, sledge, opening every single bit of the ceiling for you, that is the moment when you as a defender have to say, okay, we have to go for a second flank. We have to regain access to that top floor. And when you then have a team that only clears our top floor, gets verticality, sees, okay, no one is on site, let's play down on the plant, it's becoming dangerous, because then the defenders are up in the position where they need to be, of not only forcing back the side, but also denying you to go for a plant, because then they have gained the full access down to their own site.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you're seeing right now. Kind of as you describe it, you're seeing it play out in live turns. Leader will take it down by Pizza, which, in terms of guns going up against each other, that shouldn't happen. So, very good kill there. Zachariah falls as well. The ram taken off board by the Pizza, by the Frost. Oh, that's such a good kill. Both R4Cs taken away, and the big vert operators there as well. Now they have the decision they have to make. Do they want to use... They still want to go for the vert. If they do, what hard breach do they use? That IQ can only deal with so much in terms of soft utility and deal with soft breach. Now, though, half the round is left on the board, and the attackers still really haven't entered the site. The IQ's gone towards Connector, but that's given a lot of time for Team Synq to just pull back. A minute 20 on the clock. They still have two C4s in pocket, and an impact to boot as well. P able to find another kill, will find half, and that means that IQ's taken away. It's down to the two hard breachers. One's going to look at pushing from that vending side, and one possibly going down the main lobby. But here's the thing. They're so split apart. All they can really hope for is that they draw these offenders around and can pick a couple of them in one-on-one engagements. But with that game set up looking like it is, the attackers know that these angles are being held. It's going to be so difficult for them to deal with. 50 seconds takes down. Two flashes in pocket for the side of Absurd. No smokes for Ilias, and they are separated. It's going to be a difficult spot for them to find themselves in. And now Ilias starts to walk through, trying to sneak on in, is going to get found by Vod. Not a single kill in favor of the attack there, and Team Synq will go on to match point, winning out kitchen and dining. The site a lot of teams really won't touch with the stick.
Many teams wouldn't put that touch that spot with a stick, as you mentioned, but they did hit because they knew that they can pull it off. And they showcased that they can pull it off. And not only did they pull it off, but it was the most important round for them to pull off, as they just showcased that we don't need these buffer rounds that LDL did to get it starting in the defense. We are picking up right away and putting ourselves in a 6-4 meta after 10 rounds played and 10 rounds concluded. That means match point for round number 11.
It does, and it feels like this has flown by. A lot of these rounds are very close, are very much decided in the quick couple of minutes. It's very fast paced. I'm really liking this pace, but it does seem like it's starting to detriment LDL Valour a little bit more. Feels like Team Synq is starting to be a lot more up front. They had a couple of wobbles at the start, but they're more up front. They're more in your face about it with the defense and their roam style, which maybe is why they struggle a little bit on the attack. Now, though, they have the opportunity to win it out. And the thing is, Mighty, we're going on to Consulate next, aren't we? And whose map pick was that?
10 seconds left.
That's the map pick of Team Synq.
Exactly.
And Synq has a 11-5 win to loss on that map. I mean, they are pretty much well capable of locking it down in two maps if they win this one out as well. But to also drop in some more other conclusions, LDL, yeah, they're not looking too well as of this moment, but they can still pick it up. They can still come back. They've showcased it before that they are pretty much capable of doing so. But they as well also have a 20-6 win to loss encounter. That's even better in percentage rate than Team Synq has of their own. Yeah. So there's many rounds still to be played. There's much grounds for both teams to say we still have a chance for this. So let's see what this map can bring. But the first one that brings mayhem is Vod, still up with that shotgun. That shotgun, my friend, is just way too OP.
I mean, I've never heard that described before, but Pete's gonna find another kill, takes down Ilias, and gets another round, another kill, sorry, in favor of Team Synq. Now, like we said, if we go to Consulate, that's a big if, because LDL still need to lose this round. Team Synq still need to win it, and well, Vod and Pete have definitely put us on the right steps to do that. Demo scans will start to come through, and as we're on this basement site, this is one that LDL, I really think, struggled with. I mean, it came down to Vod again catching these players just unawares, unready, and that's how they were able to pick up that round. Is that going to be the case again? Zachariah's still alive. They've still got the ram on the board as well. They can still do the vertical. They can still do everything they need to. It's the execute I'm starting to worry about. Banshees, goon mines, capcan traps, mirror windows, and then that shotgun as well over towards cargo. That's what I'm worrying about, Mighty. That's what I'm expecting to see us go up against. And Zachariah might not be ready. It looks like they are, though. They're going to be able to find that kill and keeps him in it just for now. And Zachariah finds Vod at 3 versus 4. Not great, but better than it was. But as the vertical gets used by Unfolds, it goes both ways, attackers. Zachariah will be taken down. A 2 versus 4 and a minute left on the clock. No real choices for LDL but to execute here, but Half takes a bit of damage. Doesn't get killed though. And they're going to start pushing up cargo stairs. Solo will put that pressure on. Uncert's going to be able to be the player to find it on the flank. Peter's able to find Harv as well, and now Uncert with the flashbang in a 1 versus 3. They have an opportunity, but it's a very tough one at that. 2 players upstairs, they can kill Pete, but if they are able to do that, they still need to get on the plant. They still need to push forward. 30 seconds to get down. It's a big, big ask. Utility still in pocket. They have time to reload, time to flashbang. But this push needs to come through. Unfalls, however, with the SMG-12, will be able to find that kill. And Mighty, that puts us on all the way to Consulate already. Team Synq, they struggled a little bit in the middle. They had a little bit of a wobble on their defense, but a very strong on their attacking side. Sorry, but a very strong defense will get them map 1.
I will get them map 1, and it was an extraordinary showcase of both power from both teams. But one team definitely stood out from the fray, and that was Team Synq. Multiple scenarios that deserved them the win and also granted them the win. I just have to say, fought on that shotgun, pure mayhem brought to LDL. The LDL did not find any grounds to counter that out. But meanwhile, still, the big impact thing here is LDL bringing it back in their own first half, and then in the second half completely lost it. Did not see the grounds of saying, okay, we have roamers that we have to take care of. We have to deal with them. We have to strategically find ways to lure them out and also knock them out from the rounds. That did not happen. They gave them free rounds, enough free grounds to move around and also flank them. And that was pretty much a big difference why Synq did look so much more comfortable, especially in the second half, either towards to LDL.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. We're going on to this next map, and I think the shotgun's a big thing as well. And Consulate is a map that if you do not feel comfortable, you can tend to struggle. It really does feel like a mission to try and get yourself in the flow of things and really try and find your momentum. But that is the problem LDL are going to find themselves in as we do close out our first map. We will be back after a short break, and after that, we will bring you the action. Can Team Synq knock down LDL, or will LDL just cinch it out and find ourselves on Skyscraper? Faces. Welcome back to map 2 of a possible 3. Now, Mighty, in the little break there, we did have a little bit of a conversation here. We're a little bit doubtful of whether we will see that third map, aren't we? I mean, one of the things I think you were drawing attention to from that first map was the second front of attack, wasn't it?
Yeah, you have a second front of attack. You have a second, I will also call it a second flank, because as soon as you have maps where you also very often play on multiple elevations at once, especially when you have a top floor holding on a site that is 1 or 2 elevations below, you're always having these thoughts of saying, okay, teams will play vertical. And when you play vertical, you have 1 or 2 defenders trying to figure out a way of putting on a second flank, roaming back up into the top floor, lure out, maybe kill out and regain access to the top floor. LDL had major struggles with holding their top floor takes and also with holding their top floor positions to Synq multiple times, not only arranged, but also possible pull through with second flanks. And we had Nighthaven that doesn't always depend on these second flanks. Now we're putting on a map of Consulate where you have that factor pulling in even more. And Synq has showcased it 3 times that they're able and capable to do these second flanks. So if LDL doesn't have their head straight and focus also on that particular thing, they will have a major struggle against Team Synq here.
You see, that's a big thing for me as we do get into this game. LDL Valour, when they went up on this map the last time in this season, in this playoff, it was against Ghost Army. And, oh, sorry, no, it wasn't. If I just check that, it was against MG Minions. Oh, I'm very much mistaken here. But for me, when I've watched them play, and especially on Nighthaven, it is when these little chinks in the armor start to show up. It is when these teams are just, they think they've got everything under lock, and they just don't. Like just a rush up Visa stairs, a rush up yellow, just a little bit of pressure applied, and they started to struggle quite a bit. And it was, like you say, very clear on Nighthaven as well. We've got the Consulate, we are going to see the Blackbeard band away. We wasn't playing last time, we did see a bit of play of it on Nighthaven, but nothing massive. That's going to be taken away. We're not going to have to deal with that now, but Blitz is on the board unless Team Synq decide they don't want to deal with it.
If they decide not want to deal with it, they don't want to deal with the Deimos. Deimos is pretty much understandable coming from Team Synq, as that was the most crucialest weapon LDL brought, trying to disrupt the flow of Synq's roam game in the defense, so that's quite understandable. Blackbeard was also the most favorite band that we saw priorly. Team Synq brought him in 2 times. LDL didn't feel comfortable with him. Definitely why they're luring it out and putting it out in the bans. Azami was the previous pick that also Team Synq presented, and I pretty much understand why, because they are a team that moves through around a lot. They need multiple angles where they play from. They certainly try like to compress down the area where the defenders like and are pleased to play, of trying to then get multiple angles on these certain positions of one player at a time. So that's pretty much understandable way they're putting out an Azami there, because she's just able to build herself better angles, outstanding angles, and also blocking out multiple angles at once, trying to close out 1 or 2 players from the gunfight and then concentrate on one opponent on the time. So that's just the biggest impact factor why I understand LDL most likely would have loved to have Azami, but are taken out by Team Synq.
That Legion ban feels a little targeted.
I can say that much. It's definitely
Yeah.
targeted, because as less as I have casted this season, but if a player in this competition is known to play that particular shotgun, it's VOD. And VOD has more than often enough showcased that weapon, if you're giving him a mid to short range, it's absolutely mayhem. You just go nowhere else than a casket.
See, my big problem with that is when you ban an operator for that reason, because a certain player is playing very well with it, that doesn't deal with the core of the issue. They're not shutting down an operator by taking away the Legion. That means FOD on defense is probably just going to play something else. You know, they're probably going to play, like, maybe bring a Fenrir, they might bring a Goyle or a Wamai. Something else that they can similarly really pop off and still have a lot of passive utility with, and still frag out with. They're definitely capable of doing it. You can't ban out aim, and I fear that's what LDL Valour are trying to do. But going on to the attack, though, Team Synq are going to have a little bit of time before they have to worry about what FOD plays instead. Bringing out the Sense, the Ying, and the Nomad combination. This is screaming out an aggressive push to myself. And what this screams out to me, Mighty, is that we are going to see LDL tested very, very quickly on how good their defensive setup is and how good their reactions are as well.
Yeah, definitely. It will be tested to the very core already here from Team Synq, as Synq once again will present very hefty take on lineup here in their attackers. Yep. They will promptly try to move into that admin side and then just push forward over to printer, break room, or maybe also office reception. But Zachariah does not give them any grounds to enter freely, as that is also one of the biggest key impactors why it was so easy for Synq in multiple rounds to gain not only access but also entry into their own playstyle on the maps, because they would just granted freely access into the map every single time on multiple rounds. LDL directly puts that problem up first and say, okay, we're not giving him free access into this map.
And that's firmly on Team Synq, because now you can see the player over towards Printer. They weren't there. They would let them walk through, and as a result, now trying to catch things up, Team Synq have been put on the back feet. That means that Peter's tried to push in. That Ying, the shotgun, that's been taken away as well. And now Pizza does have an answer with the sledge with that L98A2. They're still going to have to deal with this piano hallway. They're still going to have to deal with that player deficit. And most importantly, no real site control to work with. So this is what you're talking about. They're going to head down below and they're going to start thinking about the second flank. Solo and Unfalls can start to think about towards that plan. They can maybe start heading towards that plan onto the Visa side. But this is where Pizza's starting to think of something else. Nades start to go out, deal with the utility, don't let them see that plant come through. But with a minute ticking down, LDL are not confused at all. They know exactly what's going on. They know where these attackers are, and they know what is about to happen. It seems like Pizza as well isn't going to try and take advantage of that. Will rotate back to the rest of the team, and as a result now, 40 seconds left on the clock. The Goyo canisters, the smoke canisters, they all start to go out. And this round is as good as over for the side of LDL.
It's as good as over, especially since you have knocked down a lot of the time frame given to Team Synq for this map, for this very first round of it. Now they have to figure out a way. They have to do something more. They have to work a little bit more inside. Now Harv has been lured out of his position, but also Unfolds will take the last amount of damage he has in his health bar from onset from that Toxic Babe canister. Luna picks up the Pizza, Solo picks up Luna, and trades with Harv, as Harv is putting down the first round on the board for Team LDL Valour.
Yeah, very confident, very sure. I think getting that opening pick, taking away FOD, which was the sense, which was probably going to be used to shut down a lot of that Visa, a lot of that vending hallway. That taking out that operator was huge. For me, though, I feel like that round wasn't lost. Team Synq still have an opportunity once they got Zach. Get Pizza down below, get Pizza pushing yellow, pushing Spiral. Just something to distract the attention of the defense, at least a little bit, because there was 4 defenders staring at them the whole time. The numbers, James, just didn't add up, especially with the time. And when Unfolds got taken down by the smoke, that was it. The round was done very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Just in that short period.
Change my mind, Bob, for that top floor spot, or better said, for the top floor side. If you're attacking from admin side, like Team Synq did, everything crumbles apart and stands if you're able to take that vending hall and also into that reception area on top floor, top spiral. If you're not able to either gain access and control of top spiral and vending hall, by I would say a minute 30, you have no chance of winning that spot if the opponent team in the defense does not make any hefty force.
Yeah, because that's just the thing, and you need something massive from the attacking team to bring it back from that point, which I think LDL, they did quite well to play into it and just shut down Team Synq. They got what they needed, they backed up, and they didn't let didn't let Team Synq get that control. Are they able to do that for the basement? Well, we'll find out. This is where Road Clear again is going to be so crucial. You could already see LDL have got a player above, a player towards Spiral. So a lot of these pre-placed flight cameras are going to be almost essential when it comes to getting this verticality done. This Road Clear dealt with as well. And Team Synq, they have to deal with those players. Before they start worrying about the breach, yes, you can get it open, but you can't push. Spot the player going up Spiral. Pizza is going to be heading exactly down those stairs. A lot of damage going out as Unfolds will find Zachariah. They need to be aware of Elias as well, though. But it's going to be Lunarwall to find an answer as Harv and Zachariah are both taken down. Solo as an answer. That's a good trade for an attacking side who is starting to get site control. Lunarwall rotates back to site. Nearly sets off the Claymore. Pizza Synq finds it certain, but the position's given away as Unfolds finds another. Ilias, surely as much as that round was LDL's last round, this is surely enough Team Synq's round as well, but the case!
Like, I don't understand what happened here, but one of the biggest no-nos that happened in this round is that Elias was playing together with Zachariah. Zachariah got pushed from the end of Unfolds, and Unfolds got the kill, but Elias just stood beside his teammate and just watched him fall to the ground and didn't do anything with it or on it. Now he definitely have to try and play it back, and it will be most certainly impossible because there's 3 more guys to take clear of. It's only remained of 2, and the clock ticks down. I mean, we are always down on 20 seconds remaining, and he has only 30 to conclude this final take. As Pizza plays chill, puts on the flash with his blitz shield, but just pretty much doesn't try to affect it going in for that kill.
Yeah, the round pretty much over with 1 second left, and Elias not on that case means that Pizza will just push forward and get the kill anyway. Even if they die, that round is won. Team Synq very confident, very strong. They just spotted an opening and they took it. LDL, they took a bit too long getting back on. And like you say, the refrag wasn't there. Elias should have been able to put a lot more pressure on a lot more quickly. Yes, they got the ace, but as soon as they backed up towards those yellow stairs because of the blitz, that plant was going down. The weapons fully favored the defense, and that was just Team Synq all the way. Very good round from them to answer things back. But now we're going to head back down there again. That's surely not going to work, just rushing Spiral another time. Surely LDL do something to counter that. They put a Banshee down, or they put something there, or at least have some verticality somebody can watch from the top of Spiral. Maybe it's Zachariah who does take that role with that Scopos. That easy rotate back to site might be what they need.
Yeah, maybe it is that what they need, but yet another big thing that what they definitely are in the need for is just acting a little bit more aggressive on those retakes, a little bit more aggressive on these refrags, a little bit more aggressive in the second gunfights. As first round was purely LDL bringing the gunfights to Team Synq and Synq trying to defend themselves. Meanwhile, round number 2 was the complete opposite all over again. It was LDL being brought the fights to, and they just had to, okay, I have to defend myself and try to figure out how to win the gunfight. Didn't work, didn't happen, and that way Team Synq just cleared out the round and making an equal scoreline. But since you were also searching a little bit more for results from both end teams from their previous Concept matches, the last time LDL played Concept was on the 29th of April against Molotov. No, it was on the 8th of... Where? No, there. It was on the 23rd of April against Yuk 141, and that was an 8-6 win. Meanwhile, the last time Team Synq played it, it isn't that long ago, was on the 26th of April against Minions, where they won at 7-5. But they had yet another encounter on this map, and that was an 6-8 lose against Entropy Gaming on the 5th of May. So, meanwhile, LDL has had a long break from this map, but won it out the last time. Team Synq has played it more frequently, more often in the past times, but also have lost it the last time they played it.
Yeah, but here's the thing for me. Team Synq are in an awkward situation as Zachariah finds the first kill to shut down Pete. Team Synq are in the lower bracket. They've only played one game so far of that lower bracket, and that's this one. They had a bye in the first one as the other team forfeited, and as Pete's able to find Elias as well, I feel like this is where we're going to see LDL start to step up if they have the ability to do so. They won their upper bracket quarterfinal, and then they got knocked out in the semi-finals. I mean, they've technically gone further than Team Synq have done so and played more matches in the playoffs. But as we saw from Nighthaven, that doesn't always mean everything, because the stats always tell the truth, but they don't tell the whole truth. Team Synq starting on that vertical roam clear again, 1 minute 20 left on the clock. Still worried about these players on the roam. Still worried that they don't have that full control. And that's worrying me, because now is when they need to be on the verticality. The breach needs to be opened up. The verticality needs to be used. And they have operators that can do that. They have operators that can really put pressure on. But with a 4 versus 4, 1 minute ticking down, that breach only just opening up, and the attackers of Team Synq look to go on the vert. Uncert C4 will find Unfouls, and that's the bot taken away. 3 remaining attackers here. They're gonna have to get aggressive. They're gonna have to get fraggy, because there's no other way that they're gonna win this round now. Util goes out, the smoke will block off that mirror window, and the scopers will be there ready to deal with Pizza. But a nearly TK comes out to Solo, to Pizza from Solo, but the defenders have pushed forward. Unsur will get taken down by Solo, pushing over towards Pillar. Pizza might be baiting out a plan, but it's actually going to be Pod on the breach, trying to open that up. The C4 goes out now, that could be horrible. The flank goes down, the C4 follows, it finds its kill, so does Zachariah. It's all down to Solo, they do find Luna, but in the 2 versus 1, they don't have the case in hand, they don't have it on the ground. Harv's able to find it out, and LDL, they lost the first on the round on this defense site, but they will pick up the second.
They will pick up the second, and I also love the way of response. It was the one and only thing that I mentioned in the break between round number 1 and 2, that it was a one-sided fight, and it was for LDL. Same thing I mentioned in the break between round number 2 and 3, that it was a singular-sided fight from Team Synq against LDL. Now, finally, LDL fights in, Synq fights back, and LDL concludes on and doesn't leave the focus, and then just not only denies the plant trial on the side, but also focusly, and also from the side of perspective, like, keeps control of their own side on the defense, and that's the important bit. LDL looks a lot of more steady in their own positions and also in their own playstyle on this map.
Yeah, and that's the thing, on the defense, you should expect them to be. They're going to that top floor site that they won comfortably before. They took the fight to Team Synq, which was what we said Team Synq did very well on Nighthaven. They took the fight to them, they got in your face, and they did very well. LDL have done the same thing on this site, and that's what I like to see, but they need to keep this going. We saw on Nighthaven they picked up a couple of rounds, and then they let Team Synq get away with it. They need to be maximizing the opportunity they've got on the defensive side so far, make the most out of every potential kill they get, every second that they get to waste against the attackers. They need to be making sure they get the maximum payoff for it. If they can sit somebody in admin and get 2 kills again, based off the back of that, happy days. That's what you want to see. If it just means, okay, they just get a flawless round, they let it play down to time again, go for it, that's what they need. Team Synq have realized they need to do something else. They have the players over towards CEO windows. They've realized that they need to get IQ down below, get the Ying, get the Grim, get the Blitz ready, because this is going to be a rush plan. This is going to be a rush take, a rush plan, and it is going to try and catch LDL off guard. With time ticking down, Util starts to go through. LDL, they've got to be aware. They have to know that this is about to happen. And it's not even going to start just yet. They're not even going to rotate in. The roamers will be spotted. And it looks like it's been baited. They've just rotated off.
rotated off. They have gained a lot, and better said, they've earned themselves a lot of time from the clock from LDL's 3 minutes count here, as they just say, okay, if Team Synq doesn't want to conclude in for the gunfights, opening up and join into the building, then we just can withdraw the positions, just leave us a little bit more hanging back on the side, having a small roam here, having a small roam there, trying to lure them out and then maybe get them in the second gunfight or like a second attempt. Well, as of this moment so far, there are no hefty gunfights going in. The only player that has gotten a little bit damage here, Luna and Pizza, as quick as I say that, Zachariah finds the first kill on Vod, as Vod goes down 0-4 and seemingly presents that he is not feeling well on this map.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, though. That rotate around from the attackers means that as Lunamore finds another kill, the defenders had to rotate around. They shifted all the way for that rush execute, but then they had to rotate again. This hasn't been a problem, though. Team Synq haven't taken advantage of it and got control. Unfolds on Spiral will find Lunamore now, but Zachariah's been the big problem. He will be able to find Uncertain, will be looking for another kill, tries to take Elias, but the Mossberg shotgun's so close. And no doubt the defenders are coming to help out, finding Hearthead, finding Elias as well. It's all down to Zachariah. Incredible play from the solo to bring it back, but realistically that shouldn't be happening. LDL had pretty much won the round, and now it's all down to the Fenrir. They don't have those Nat Fear mines in, those Nat Dread mines in pocket so far. They've only got one on the window, and they can't use that here. The Grim Beastinger will go out. Pre-fires will go as they spot the player's position, and no doubt the other player over towards Spiral, the Grim of P, is going to be holding that angle for the cross. Rotating to get that case down, because that might be the entire reason they lose this round. If they don't push the plan, they don't have the case to go for it, so they have to go for the frag here. Jumping in CEO, Unfools will realize they need to get aggressive, they need to make it happen, and will find that kill, getting around on the top floor in favor of the attack that shouldn't have gone their way. LDL gave away the yellow stairs there.
It shouldn't have gotten that way, it shouldn't have happened for them, it should not have worked for Team Synq, but the big flaw here is for LDL. They have the sight, they have the bullets, and they had the aim onto their opponents, but pretty much you didn't make your bullets count. And when you're not making your bullets count, you will get them fired back onto you. And as soon as that happened, Synq gained control. The insane flick there coming in from Solo onto that Valkyrie on that second pillar, that D pillar, was the very first opener, the can opener of saying, okay, I have what it takes to put on that push into the side and put pressure on Team LDL. And as soon as he did, he also knew that there was one player on the mute close on that angle going in where I'm standing. I'm peeking around and I'm pre-firing in it, and it worked out, and that's what it takes. You have to risk a few times in a few scenarios. You gotta put on a little bit risk because you can be highly rewarded, and that's what happened for Solo. Solo nails the, or better said, won out that round fairly and square for his team, just because he put himself in a danger position for a few moments where it doesn't seem to have a hefty consequence for him.
Exactly. Now, all things even, Team Synq maybe shouldn't have got to this place, but they're not going to complain. LDL Valour need to pick up the next couple of rounds here, Mighty, so that they can go in on that 4-2 scoreline. We talked about how important it can be on the defensive setup, just like we saw at Nighthaven, just like we're seeing so far.
Oh no,
C4 goes out the roof, nearly finds its mark. It almost does. But Solo, just a little bit too far away, will be down but not out. Now, that's huge, because all the damage is done. He's got an answer of their own. We'll find Luna Wall, and that's got to taken off the board. The res does come out, and Solo does have very little HP remaining, but that's still a lot more than Goyo has at the moment in the spectate camera. Now the dedicated drone op.
I just have to say how unfortunate that C4 was. That C4 from Hard was so purely good, well planned out, and also the idea behind it was so good. But then he only gets the down and not gets the kill concluded. As more than unfortunate. But still, it happens, and that's how it's dealt. Neither you always got to play with the cards you're dealt, and Team Synq definitely played out their cards right, and they got the rest onto Soul, and they also got to kill themselves for themselves on Luna. That is more than they definitely would have seen themselves in.
Yeah, a lot less pressure on the side of the attack now, because they've got that player up, they've got that first kill on the board, they can start to open things up. They haven't committed too hard to either side just yet, but you got to remember last round, they went very hard on CEO and did nothing with it. So they have the opportunity to execute when it comes to the late round. And again, the utility is there. The Buck is in position. The Nomad air jab goes off. I do believe they will go for this push this time because they've got that Buck down below to cover the vert. And there it is. Fod jumps in. Will look for that plant to go down. The smoke canisters will put the damage on them. So they're just going to jump out. Are they going to rotate? They won't really have time with 1 minute left on the clock here. And they're not going to push through. Another smoke canister. Almost the last one will go down and waste that time just a little bit more. And no plant comes out for the attack. Things start to stall out here, actually, as we hit that 40-second mark. Team Synq, they really want to go for this push, but they're not ready. And the Roma gets spotted down below. That is the job of Unfalls here to deal with. And now Elias over towards Yellow. The rest of LDL, they're all in a position that they can deal with these attackers. They've got crossfires set up. They've got angles they're expecting to hold. But as the plant starts to go down, you will see Unfalls try and deal with Zachariah. Not able to do it just yet. We'll find him. But not before Fod gets taken down. That plant gets stopped again with 14 seconds to get down this time. Elias gets, and Harvey each get kills of their own, and Synq closes it down. LDL Valour, the case, when Fod gets taken down, it just means the attackers have to go into the case. And that's going to be that round in favor of the attack. LDL, well played to bring it back there, and they will pick up the lead here again, Mighty.
They will definitely pick up back their lead, and they're not giving it away. And that's the big thing for LDL, where they can count a little bit on themselves and saying, yeah, Synq might have what it gets and what it has to take to get these equalization points in these round numbers of 2, 4, and maybe also 6. We will find out very in a short amount of time. But we're not giving away the lead. We're making it equal, but we're not giving away the lead, and that's one of the key moments where you can say LDL, okay, focused up. They made an equal point. We still have to stick up for ourselves and not give away that lead. Because as soon as they give away a lead, they are struggling to bring it back again. They have brought it back once, but they're struggling to bring it back a second time already. So I'm pretty much saying that life point, that will to put on a fight every single round, more or less, it could also depend on if LDL drops away and gives away that lead.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I feel like this is realistically LDL's round to lose. It felt like a lot of these rounds that they've lost have really been off like little key moments, little key opportunities that Synq have been able to capitalize on. LDL, if they're able to just lock these down, I feel like they've got a good opportunity for a 4-2 split here. But Team Synq, well, they have just as much chance to take advantage of any opportunities that they spot. They've done it before, they could do it again. Are they going to be able to do it this round? That's the question for me. Refar does come through. They know Zachariah's on that roam, and it is trying to apply that pressure. And I like this because this has been done to slow down that player, slow down the attackers from getting that verticality, and again, just waste time. We saw last time we were on this site, they really struggled. And as Fod's able to find the first kill, though, Lunar Wall will be knocked out. That bandit, that MP7 taken away. Harv is over towards that storage side. Pizza doesn't know. They're just going to walk through and go into Cafe as well. Now, while they can take control of site, the call does go out. The rest of the roamers will start to rotate around. But with Unfalls finding not 1, but 2, they will get taken down, but the advantage firmly in favor of the attack here as Pete pushes us 1 kill away from a 3-3 scoreline. With the plank going down and Pizza pushing in with that blitz, it's really not looking good for the Mew.
It's definitely not looking good for them, and as LDL has done privately on the map of Nighthaven, where they just saw the gaps and just slipped through onto the side, put down the fight on the side, and just maybe put their own defenders out in a position of saying, okay, let's have them attack back on their own side. That was happened here, and Synq made it flawless. They saw the gaps in the positions of LDL, slipped through it, went onto site, and then they have the positions to follow up the blitz. The blitz functioned as a living drone, figured out, okay, where is the guys moving, where are guys on site, where they're moving to, and then immediately you have the second row of the attackers on the very back coming in over to the hallways and entryway doors of just then getting these kills done. You then afterwards, as you clean the site, you're blocking out the entryways for the roamers of the defenders coming back onto the site, and there's like no grounds for you to lose that, as you have only limited ways how they can drop back onto the site.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a nice round from Team Synq there to bring that round back. And again, just finding little chinks in the armor that I keep talking about because they're so impactful. Just the Valkyrie not sat on cameras, not looking at that spiral stairs, nothing in terms of audio information to give away that that player was there, even though it was a blitz walking down those stairs. They read into it, they took full advantage of it, and they got a round off the board. Now they need to be able to do the same thing on the defense, like you say, Mighty. On that top floor, we saw this time, we saw the LDL, they liked having their players over towards admin, try and get an early kill, and then when they realized Synq weren't going to try and push admin again after that first round, they were able to fall back very quickly. They didn't commit to it horribly, and they just said, right, they're not coming this way, we'll let them take it. They're committing over towards that yellow side. And I kind of like this. I quite like seeing how we're going to see how things change when we go on the side swap, Mighty. Because now Team Synq, like you say, defense. They got quite aggressive, got in your face at certain points. LDL Valour, are they going to match that? Are they going to struggle to? Or are they going to get taken down? Vod will be taking a little bit of damage, but isn't going to be put down out of this round just yet, Mighty. The hero of Nighthaven really not given an opportunity to step up massively in the way they want to, I'm sure, on this side of Consulate. The admin take will start out for LDL here, and the Grim will do very good, very easy work of pushing out a lot of these roamers that might be lurking in there.
Setting up a sequential breach.
It might be that they are possible to close it in and close it out that way, but either way, the big thing for LDL is here, they need to prep for a Team Synq that is very aggressive, very hardly peeking, playing it together alongside multiple helping hands, playing it together as a team. So there's very often only a singular player playing out certain positions, but there are two or maybe three. If there's not three players from the beginning, third player is not far away. So that is a thing that LDL needs to keep in mind. And another thing is that I was missing out on LDL on the first map of Nighthaven when they were in the attack, clearing out these roamers, because every single time they let the roamers be by themselves and just let them roam freely, these roamers was there to bite them in the back at the late rounds. But this time you have Pete spotted out and cleared out by Elias, and that is important enough already.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a big kill so far. That's the Scopo's taken away. That's that late roam flanking gets taken off the board as well. And for the attacking side, the thing is, there's not really too much to back things up. You still have solo by vending. Time's ticking down. There's not a lot of payoff for that one kill they've got so far. Time acting as a sixth defender there, really going to step things up. Smoke canister start to go. The frag grenade will follow, and they are going to push out that warden and find that kill. Very nicely done with Lunar Wall. And now Unforzo has an answer onto half. Playing down below, that's been dealt with. That Roma can get up those stairs, but not before we have to deal with it. Elias, look for the kill. The damage comes through, but it doesn't find its mark. Lunar Wall's able to find Fod, but with that Goyo down below, as they just get taken down, the push comes through, and Pizza misses the shots. And that's going to be LDL Valour taking the first round on their attacking side very comfortably. Don't need a plan, don't need the timer, just need some gunners.
Beautiful play around by LDL. They're putting in the work on these small segments where I said they missed out their opportunities on the first map. They cleared out these and focused on saying, okay, they have roamers, they want to backflank us, they want to put on the second flank as they did against us multiple times on Nighthaven, and we are blocking out the opportunity to do so, as we're eager to say, okay, we'll try to figure out where they're coming from, and we will close out their approach route and kick them out in the first attempt. The only thing that I had a little shock moment is with Team Synq has the spot on Elias, and he is turning his back, running away. This is the most no thing to do. Yes, you're maybe out of bullets, but you have a secondary. Yes, you're shocked that there's an opponent in front of you. You're trying to lure something else. You can't turn your back onto your opponent, because you know as soon as you turn your back, you're dead for 110%.
100%. I mean, you just can't shoot back. It's just as simple as that. Not a fan of seeing that, but while the round's over, LDL Valour, they're not going to complain at all. They are going to go on to this second attacking round. Very confident, a lot of vigor as they start to think about converting this into the next couple of round wins, because looking at that scoreline, I mean, Skyscraper isn't off the cards at the moment. They can really lock it down as long as they make sure they play properly. If they're not able to do that, if they start to slip at any point, Team Synq will take control of that. And that's the big thing we need to talk about. Because again, this is not the upper bracket finals, Mighty. I've already talked about it a little bit. This is the lower bracket, which means any loss here at the best of 3 is a knockout. That's it, you're done. Unfolds will be droned out, and the pre-made route to get out will be used, but Luna will be taken by Fod. The call-out seemingly not there, as the Ash just swings on the top floor and takes away that castle. Now, this is a bit of a problem, because LDL now have a lot more top floor control, and while, yes, the castles allow for the roamers to get back to site very easily, it stops them from applying that pressure so much onto the attackers. Zachariah gets a kill onto Unfills, and now, as a result, 2 minutes on the clock, 2 defenders down. Looking very good here for LDL Valour.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that. LDL looks a lot more comfortable on this map so far against Team Synq as they did privately. It's shocking me a little bit since you both said this is Synq's map pick, and Synq has a better reputation on it. Meanwhile, LDL has played a few more times, have a better percentage win rate on it. They're proving this why the sets are the way they are. Well, another big thing is I have a little bit more information that I have secretly hiding it from you. These two teams have played against each other in the best of 3 before. That was on the 11th of March over at RSX. That was a best of 3, and they're also played 2 maps that we have to see in this best of 3 if it goes the full distance. They played Consulate after a beautiful kill from Solo, trying to pick it back, making it a 2-2 equal. Last time these two teams played against each other on Consulate, it was a 7-4 victory for Team Synq.
Exactly.
So either LDL is picking up pace and they have done their homework, or Synq is slacking off.
Yeah, now with this yellow staircase, so 2 versus 2, Solo doesn't have much else to work with here, so they need to make sure that they're not slacking. They are hitting every shot and making the most of every pellet in that shotgun slug.
Attackers have
Now
recovered.
holding that staircase, they know that player's on yellow stairs. Luna's there, pushes forward, gets the kill, takes Solar down. It's all down to Pete in yellow. The 30 seconds are ticking down here. They do have the case in the hands of Elias, and now a 2 versus 1, they could really start to apply some pressure, start to push in together. But the audio call for Spiral is there. It wasn't there for LDL when we saw Pizza walk through, but it is going to be there for Pete. Looking for the kill, doesn't find the kid, doesn't find the head, and now looks towards Yellow, aware that they are caught in between a rock and a hard place. But if they get the kill onto Yellow, that's surely a round over. Pete, using the time that they still have, if they could waste that clock down, that's even it. They're able to find Luna. They look for the second kill, but he can't get it. Elias is able to keep LDL Valour in it and getting another round on the board and put us 1 possible round closer to Skyscraper. A much needed round for the attack, and they are not going to shy away from it.
The amount of timing from both ends, both from Luna coming in, trying to re-roam back to help and secure that plank going down with his teammates. Beautiful shot meanwhile here in the kill cam here in the replays by Solo. But this time here, Pete trying to lure in, killing the guy, putting down the diffuser, but the amount of timing by Luna trying to reconnect back to Elias, but Elias enough time to get off the diffuser with the aim downside onto Pete and dropping him to the grounds, making this a 5-3. Beautiful amount of time. Luck there, and also team play in consideration.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to this site, I'm not sure how I feel about this now. 5-3 scoreline that we've got on the board. Team Synq, they've only got to that top floor 1 time of asking, and it's not gone well. But I think maybe a tertiary site might be the way to go. I mean, they've tried the top floor, they've tried the bottom floor site, and neither of them have really worked out for them.
5 seconds
So
left.
they're going to try the bottom floor again. Maybe go into the mid floor site. It's something different LDL aren't ready for. They might have something in the pocket, like a pocket strat they could bring out, but it seems that they're going to not bring that out.
You know what is some of making me a little happy in this lineup that we're seeing? We have brought back an operator that I seamlessly thought was already dead and never be spoken about. We have a Soulless picked in the name of Fod. Fod being on a 1-7 is not ideal, it's not good of a scoreline, especially when we take back in consideration how he went on Nighthaven with a shotgun of Legion, but now he's put himself back on the shotgun. Is that the idea of a Fod of saying, I'm a shotgun player?
a minute starting to tick down here. Team Synq haven't really shown that much to LDL, but LDL are aware that they need to do this roam clear, that's for certain. And again, the roam clear is kind of the key thing. FOD does have that shotgun in pocket, does have that SMG-12, and is quite likely going to be a big problem in the round, as long as LDL aren't able to shut him down like they have done so far in this game. And it looks like we're seeing a lot more coordinated effort for this roam clear. Now, these players in admin are going to struggle to get back to site. If that hatch is open, then that's fine, that's great, they can drop it. But if LDL have somebody over towards that Visa side looking for that cutoff, then things could turn just as bad as they were good. 2 defenders up in that admin side at the moment, looking to draw these attackers away with a minute 30, half the round taken off the clock already. And the attackers are still going for this. They recognize the danger, they know they need to deal with this, but at what point does it become a detriment? They need to start thinking about that verticality like the rest of the team will be. And now with Zachariah down below, we'll be looking to get utility. It's Unfalls who finds the first kill, takes away Lunar Wall, and now FOD is unaware of Elias. They realize that they might need to just start putting pressure on. If they can get IQ, this could turn it all around and get Team Synq a badly needed round. Unfalls as well starts to apply that pressure. Spotted will give away the position. Elias gets one, gets a second, really waking up on this map. And we'll start to move down below, but 45 seconds left, Mighty. Is the time that's wasted enough?
I don't think the time does have to be taken in consideration here. They have 40 seconds to remain back onto the site. They're trying to get away that K-Claw is not making a Pete, significantly shutting down Zachariah, making it a 3-3 equal. Now you will get spawned out. A solo is put out. Harvest taking Pizza. Now it's Pete only remaining against 3. That's what the thing is, what I mentioned with the time. The time doesn't have to play any consideration here, as they have enough grounds to force themselves into the side. They only need to flash them out and push into the side, be close to each other, as they have verticals. They have multiple guys coming in from that door, while they don't need, as Uncertain makes it himself.
That's why I didn't want to see this site come through again. Again, we're seeing Pete sat down below as the turbo out in a 1vx scenario. The time was wasted. The time was really good. But there was nothing else behind that Team Synq defense. They lost players as soon as that happened. LDL, they didn't even have the breach open. They were still able to walk in yellow, crouch walk in yellow and get the kill, and then find the next 2 kills after that. Very good from LDL Valour, but Team Synq can't allow that to happen again. I don't expect to see them try and take that basement, even if they win this round. They're going to need to play, if they want to knock LDL Valour out, they're going to need to play a perfect game. But LDL, oh, this is looking good now. Only 1 round away from going to our 3rd map, and only 1 round away from possibly knocking Team Synq out. With a play like with the way they've been playing since this switch, they've won all their attacking rounds so far. They've been confident while doing so. And most importantly, when you look at Skyscraper as a potential 3rd map, the play stars kind of starting to line up. And you mentioned little chinks in the armor, little second flanks, as you call them. They are a big problem you need to be prepared to deal with. And LDL Valour are up to scruff.
Yeah, definitely.
10 seconds to go.
That was a big thing that I mentioned in earlier. If they don't have that in the back of their heads, it will definitely bite themselves in the ass. That did not happen. They have it in the consideration. They have that in the back of their head, saying it's always the possibility that Team Synq will put on a second flank, or maybe a second attempt to regain access into certain areas, key positions. And that definitely saves them a lot of in a lot of scenarios. And also the way, yes, you lost a lot of time on these 2 guys up in admin, but still you also made that count. You lured them out in the very end. You got 2 kills and turned around the complete round, as it then also takes away the grounds of having saying, okay, there are guys potentially coming back onto the side in a late game. Then we are in a clinch position between 2 fronts. That front was taken away, and that way LDL can freely play the final attempt, the final take onto side.
Exactly. Now, possibly our final round that we're going to see, LDL will have to attack this top floor again for the 3rd time, and most importantly, one that they've really done well on. They're going to try this again, go to the top floor, and hopefully win this out. Waiting for them, it's going to be solo with the C4. Doesn't find its mark, and by now LDL, they're aware that they need these cutoffs in place, so that player imprinter was there. The bullet does give away that they were holding it, but didn't get a kill, didn't get any damage. Don't worry, Lunar Wall's there. FOD has been shut down yet again. 1 kill and 9 deaths. They have fallen so much in this game so far. It's really a far cry away from what we saw with the Legion on Nighthaven. I said I don't like a ban, but it targets an operator, but it seems to be working here, my team.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be working for it. It's not looking well. It's not looking comfortable at this very moment in the entire map so far. But that C4 fits perfectly for the throw from Pizza and takes out Harv. Unsert takes out and takes on Zachariah, but Zachariah takes a kill into Solo meanwhile. And it's all about this Vending Hall, and Vending Hall has been defended to the very bits in the harsh ends of Unfalls taking on Unsert.
Exactly. Now, going into the last minute of this round, LDL Valour, they have 2 players dead, both on attack and defense. And yeah, that's a good thing in terms of attacking, that there's 2 defenders off the board. But now they're going to have to go under strength into this take. Now, Pizza didn't really have a great time with the TCSG last time, but we'll be looking to do so again. But if Luna Wall turned around and Pizza turned around, they would have seen each other. Moving forward, though, Luna Wall and Zachariah will each find a kill of their own. They will leave it Unfall, in a 1 versus 3 scenario. The swing comes out. Elias is able to shut it down. The nade baited beautifully. And that is going to be a 3rd map. Skyscraper, LDL, they have woken up here. Fair play to them. A 7-3 victory on Consulate, and they made the attack feel easy.
Yeah, definitely. They made a count. They put on a lot of work, and they also, I have to say the way it is, they present themselves from a whole nother perspective than they did on the very first map. They turned every single bit around that made them pay hard against Team Synq on Nighthaven and figured out ways to not only come back strong, but come back stronger than needed on this very second map. And finally they put on a win, and not only did they get payback for the time when they played in R6 over, where they had to lose this map with a 7-4 and they're paying it back with a 7-3 win, and now the most important and also interesting bit comes back to life. They played, as I mentioned, they played against Team Synq over at R6 with a best of 3, and they also went to the 3rd map of a decider. And fun fact, it was also Skyscraper. And that time when they play Skyscraper, Synq turned out to be the winner with a 7-4 also on that map. So if LDL is not on a revenge trip here and said, okay, we didn't need to win this the first map because we will take complete comeback and also payback for map number 2 and 3, I really don't know. Because the way how they present themselves is just so far spread from each other that it just pretty much seems like we saw 2 different teams on the side of LDL.
Yeah, 100%. They're going to be looking to go onto Skyscraper to close things out and complete that revenge arc. And, you know, maybe say, no, I don't care about Nighthaven. Yeah, you can have that map because we want to play Skyscraper. Is that the case? Are they going to be able to close things down and knock out Team Synq? Or are Team Synq going to keep that control, keep that momentum from map 1 and knock them out? We're only going to find out one way. We'll be back in a bit. Don't go anywhere.
Also, Unfalls will take the last amount of damage he has in his health bar from Onset from that Toxic Babe canister. Luna picks up the Pizza.
Mighty, mighty, mighty. 2 maps down. Nighthaven in favor of Team Synq, who were very comfortable, and then LDL, who just woke up on Consulate. Both teams picking up the other's map pick, and now we're going to find ourselves on map 3, Skyscraper. Like you said, there's a history here.
There's definitely a history here. They played against each other on the 11th of March over at R6 in the league, and they had to play it on a 3 map. They did to take a best of 3, where they won out 7-4 on Consulate at first, then they got drawn back by LDL with a 7-3 loss on Bank, and then they put it all the way into Skyscraper as a decider. But then finally, Synq put up the challenge and put through the challenge on Skyscraper, winning it as well on a 7-4 base. And I would say the same count that the LDL also not only thought against it, also but thought through here on the second map over on Consulate. They're looking for the same approach here for Skyscraper. I'm pretty much determined to say, yeah, Skyscraper is a little bit one-sided map, especially for the team that begins in the defense on the first half, because you can pretty much already close down the map on the first half if you're determined enough and if you're good enough in the defense lineups. But from the team of LDL that we saw proudly now, and also the way how they function in their own defense, but not only in their own defense, but especially the way how they lock down and force their own playstyle for the defenders of their opponents on the map of Consulate, I'm very much determined to say this map could go to everything. It could be a potential 7-1, 7-2, or it could also go all the way to unlimited overtime that would pretty much please the head of production, I would say.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a meme at this point, but, you know, it's going to be fun if that does be the case. Skyscraper, for me, it's a map that, like you say, it can be closed down if the team takes the right approach in the first half and they get that control, they get that dominance, and then they can keep that going. For me, it's a map where teams have to be a lot tighter. They have to be a lot more coordinated and a lot more strict. So in the way that we saw focusing on maybe second flanks and maybe focusing on how fast they can get these chinks in the armor, Skyscraper is not as much of a map that can really reflect on that. There's a lot of kind of ground, a lot of meat grindery points. I'm thinking, you know, top drum, I'm thinking barrels. Those are the points where teams are really going to have to earn their way through. They're going to have to slog it out. So coordination, refrags, and just knowing what you're doing and knowing what's being covered is going to be so important. Going on to the bans for this side, we've seen Blackbeard and Blitz starting it out before. We're going to see the Monty joining us now. And Monty, the type of playstyle that Monty has, definitely reflecting the type of playstyle Skyscraper needs.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more. And Monty is a huge operator for this map. And that you're taking him off the board is more than understandable. I can also say the bans that we have had previously on the 11th of March matchup that they had over at R6 were Doki, Mira, Monty, and Clash. We have 2 of these 4 on the boards. Do we see Mira and Clash coming in? I would not say so. I think we will see an Azami over the Clash, but yeah. I could understand pretty much both. Warden!
Warden, though. Okay, so...
Very interesting.
I mean, Team Synq, they liked using their Ying. They liked using a couple of operators that utilize the smokes, the flashbangs. I can kind of see this, and on a map like Sky, when we say look towards that bottom floor site, or maybe over towards CEO exhibition side, that's where Warden's going to have to deal with a lot of utility, or whichever defender's there. So taking that player off the board means on the attacking side, you can get a lot of utility in there, you can shut off a lot of lines of sight, and you know that they can't see through it. There's not a Warden waiting with a C4 or with a gun aimed right at your head. Legion's going to be joining us out on the band operators here.
Legion band operator, and I pretty much, as you also know, like I do, that is the most target ban thing happening in this potential matchup. That has nothing to do with that Legion is a pain in the ass with the goo mines to play against, as the goo mines are quite obvious to not only spot all but also destroy, as they are not the havoc to deal with anymore as they have been before. But it's just that shotgun coming in.
I mean, I criticized it last map, but it worked. I mean, FOD, if I'm not mistaken, got 1 kill that entire map, so okay, I can live with it. Now, LDL, starting out their defense, starting on Tea Room Karaoke, doesn't really surprise me. What does, though, they're looking to just fully reinforce that black top, which suggests they're just going to give that control of black top. They might play it a bit passive and then pull back, but they're going to let Team Synq take it if they want. They're going to take a much more geisha-orientated approach. So the big thing here is they need to make sure they can keep control of Terrace, to keep control of Geisha. If they do that, then the setup they've got would work. If they lose that, though, Team Synq can really just walk in and take control. And now with the Solus playing down below, that's going to be waiting with Elias, looking to try and deal with this verticality, stop a plant if they do lose site control. And now that Warden ban's looking like it makes a lot more sense. Ying and Glaz both being brought out on the side of the attack.
Alright, let's see what these teams can bring for map number 3 and how they want to start. Like we have always said before, like especially me and Diana, the first 2 rounds on any map, it doesn't have to say if it's the first, the second, the third, the fourth, or the 5th map in a matchup between 2 teams. The first 2 rounds are always these get to know phase. How do you want to play this map? How do you want to approach either your defense or your attacks? And already the first touching has begun as Luna kicks out Unfolds.
Yeah, unforced taken away, that's the Glaz off the board. Probably a big stunt on that, because now the Ying's going to be pushing in without that smoke support from the Glaz. And if there is support, it's not going to be coming from elsewhere. The jump comes in, Vod's been spotted, will be taken down. Lunarwall has an answer, Pizza against one of their own, and just kick it off at a 3 versus 3 at the moment with 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. Defenders firmly cut off sight as Pizza's able to find another one, but halves the C4 as well. Elias and Harv now 2 versus 2 have the opportunity to make this work, but it's going to be all down to Pete on main stairs, finding that player of Harv and puts Elias in the 1 versus 2. Frag grenade follows, confirms kill to Harv. The damage goes down onto Solar. Another nade forces him in a rock at a hard place, and now Pete has to start pushing forward. Use those frag grenades, use those flashbangs, and force them into that fight with Solo. Takes the damage, gets him down. The plant isn't going to go down, and the rotate to Geisha is going to put us into 1 versus 1. HP in favor of Pete here, but Elias with the shotgun so close and do a lot of damage. Doesn't spot the crossover towards that rotate, but we'll hear that gun going down. 50 seconds left, no plant to follow. They've got to play that frag, because if they do put that plant down, well, it's a solace. They're going to go for the kill, and that's exactly what Pete has to do right now. Looks for it, doesn't find the mark, and 35 seconds takes down. Reload, starts to plant, but immediately Elias is going on that util.
Elias just pretty much needs to play the little bit defense hefty here, because as soon as he does, he just needs to wait for the diffuser to drop down, but that isn't the case, as Pete is playing it aggressive, playing it approachingly towards LDL, and that was one of the most weirdest spotting and gunfight I've seen before. It just seems like LDL's player of Allies just said, please don't spot me, please don't see me, please don't see me with the wall, yeah, Pete just nearly overlooking or overseeing him, but yeah. That's the first round on the ball for Team Synq, and that's a very important one because it's the first round on the ball for Team Synq in approximately 5 rounds played so far, and that is very important for them. They're straightly back onto the grind. They're pretty much directly set for this map, and the unfortunateness of both Unfalls and FOD falling, especially I have to say it. Yes, you banned out the Legion, but you're putting FOD back on a Ying with the same shotgun, only unsilenced, is a little bit funny, but the way that you killed him completely, I would say, silenced the Roman approach from Pizza on the ace, and just let him completely Roman free onto the side and try to put down the diffuser. Was unfortunately caught off guard with the C4 flying through the wall, but else, the way you're covering up your own entry with another of your teammates entering through a window that's quite obvious is very interesting approach.
Yeah, for me though, going back to this site, I think the key thing Team Synq really could have improved upon was that post-plant, was that 2v1 scenario. I feel like LDL Valour had the opportunity to win that. It just, Elias wasn't able to really close things down. Trying this again, hopefully they should be able to. The drones will come down, they will spot Pete, and hopefully they will be dealing with these roamers a lot quicker and a lot easier. They don't have the same lineup with the Ying, with the Glass, so they've realized that it's just not going to work. And a lot of LDL Valour are now playing downstairs. They've got the Goyo, the Valk, and the Solus below. So now they're spotting Elias, and they're picking it out, they're calling it out. The Lion Scan goes out as well, but Luna tries to jump out to get a kill. It's going to be FOD and Solo able to find picks, holding the long angle to stop the cross. I've never seen that actually get used before, and it's going to be able to find a kill. Joining into karaoke now, we'll get that information and will be in a good spot to give Synq an idea of whether they can go there for a plant or not, or whether they need to be a little bit more ready. And that's the 2 operators. That is a Goyo with a Vector ACOG and a Solus with that scan taken off.
I have to say, the way how LDL is looking so far is not going the way I thought it would go. Especially because I mentioned it, this map of Skyscraper is so defense favor. It's so more comfortable for the defenders to move around and be playable instead of the attackers, but it doesn't seem to be that way. It seems to be all the way around. But now as soon as you roam in, also the first kill comes through for the defense. And I'm saying the position of Unsert and Sakurai are more or less unfavorable for the attackers, as Pizza is drawn out with these with a C4, but Zachariah also is downed and dropped below. Maybe he's recoverable though for Halv, as Solo has also dropped down on a low HP bar so far, but no Unfalls is there to put down Zachariah.
Yeah, and now the goal canisters are really coming into play here, shutting down that rotate from the attackers and forcing them into a lot more tough angles to take. But you see here, the attackers, Team Synq still have Solo on those with that karaoke window, which means uncertain half. They don't have that fluidity of movement they want to have, and they can't make the most out of these goal canisters. But with 30 seconds left on the clock, it might just be enough. Scan comes out, the information that these players have started to push forward is coming through. They know that Solo's gone into piano, but they're not able to find the kill just yet. But look, that Goyo canister's still there. If they want to plant there, they're going to risk that damage, or they've got to get in the line of sight. Solo's able to find uncertain. Now Half has to get the counter. Will find Solo, will look to stop the plank going down, but just doesn't spot the player because of the couch. And the crossfire means Unfalls will find that kill, and we will see a second attacking round for Karaoke and T-Room going in favor of Team Synq.
So Synq is pretty much showcasing that they feel more than comfortable enough to take on this map from the angle of the attackers in the first half, and they're putting up an intensely well fight so far, leading now with an 0-2 that's more than unexpected, and also, I would say, on thank-giving for LDL's performance on map 2, as they pretty much fought themselves back into this matchup and said, okay, we'll at least try to go full distance. Well, as they made full distance, it seems like they're running a little bit out of fuel in their own play tanks, and Team Synq, either way though, looks more tempting, more promising than it did so far on map number 2.
Yeah, so I want to bring it back to something that you said. You know, yourself and Dianic, the first 2 rounds are the most important because it's all about fact-finding, it's all about feeling things out. LDL Valour, this hasn't gone their favour. Team Synq now, they've got that control, they've got that momentum. Yes, LDL are starting to get a couple of kills on the board, but it's really not the same confidence. It's always trying to catch things up. They're not setting that pace now. And now Team Synq, they're going to ride with that. They have those 2 rounds on the attack. That's what you expect, really, on attacking side. You're not going to be too half open if you don't get any more rounds. But obviously, you like it, you want them. Team Synq going on to this exhibition side, they're going to be pretty confident moving forward. They're going to expect to get this round, and when they do, even if they don't, LDL Valour will probably go back to T-Room Karaoke. Team Synq are in a good spot so far, and with those 2 rounds under their belt, probably feeling quite confident that they can pick apart these defenders. They can force them into these spots that only favour the attack.
They can do it, they can pull it off, but the first question is now, is LDL now finally waking up for the challenges? Team Synq has more or less already presented what they're trying to do, what they're wanting to do on this map so far, and LDL is now in the questioning to be answering from what's happening so far. Do they find grounds to adjust? Do they find grounds to figure out to enter into this matchup, or are they just left out into the fray by Team Synq's play?
Exactly. Start to put some pressure in. We're seeing Blackbeard again for the first time since we saw them on Lighthaven before. Not a massive impact on it. Mainly just pushing these defenders away, and you see that's already started to happen over here. You see Elias has backed up with Half, and now the Blackbeard through the T-Room is going to start to apply some pressure, make them look at a couple of different angles. But here's the thing, if LDL can catch up on this, if they can get a play at black top or at main, and they're not ready for it on the side of the attack, that second flank would be all but damning the side of the attackers. Unfalls will be able to find Zachariah, finds the first kill in this round so far, and puts that bandit onto those cameras for the next minute and 15 seconds. The rest of LDL Valour, they need to have an answer, and they need to have it soon, because Team Synq, with an advantage like that, they are going to start applying this pressure, and most likely start to push towards this dragon side. Looks like the Goyo canister is going to be the big things in their way, which means there's one solution. You shoot them, you get rid of them, you get a player over towards terrace, cut off that line of sight, and that means that when it comes to this execute, there's not as many problems that are in your way. Ilias is going to be one of them, finding Ford again, being shut down by the top side of LDL Valour. Really caught his number after that Nighthaven game. The rest of Team Synq are going to keep going. C4 goes out, Blackbeard looks to confirm the kill, will be able to get the down and the kill as well. Elias punishes for taking down the Maverick. Now the rest of the team will try to back them up. Pizza gets another one, but Synq has an answer. Now 2 versus 3, make that a 2 versus 2. The refrag comes out and Pizza gets the kill. And now Harv's on their lonesome. They don't have a C-port for in pocket, but they do have the cameras. They can stop a plant going down if they want to, but they need to stop the players going to site on falls. Needs to get in the first place. They'll start to rotate through. 8 seconds left. The plant has to start going down. That it is. And now Pizza just has to cover the attackers from that window side. And with time ticking down, hits 000 and Falls is just going to get the plant down. And Harv, in a very sticky situation, probably going to back things up and take their time.
Synq is leaning back, taking their time. They're concluding on the round once again. And it pretty much looks like LDL is just clinging to their lives, clinging to this matchup as much as they can, but they're not finding enough grounds, they're not finding enough gunfights in a successful manner to close it in and close it out for their sake. As every single time as they put up a kill, they're getting a refrag against themselves. You're really seeing it here. Onto picks up one, Pizza figure out another one, Onto picks up one again to make it a double, and then once again on a whole nother end of this map, another kill happens on the Synq first team. Synq always keeps the lead in the number of men count, gives LDL no grounds to come back in and get some entry into this guy in this map so far, and that is a huge problem so far.
It really is. Now, back to this karaoke tea room site. I mean, I don't think this is the way we need to go. LDL, they've lost it twice. They tried a different site and it didn't work. They cannot afford to be giving away more rounds in this situation, so unless they've got something they know that they're going to use to beat Team Synq,
10 seconds
I
left.
don't want to see them taking this site again. If they're just going to try the same thing we saw before,
5
I
seconds
don't want
remaining.
to see it. They've got a lineup that suggests they probably are. That mirror the big change there.
Attackers
The
must
only
locate
real
and
big
defuse
changes
the
I can
bomb.
see. Whereas the attackers of Team Synq, they're just starting to apply a bit more pressure. They've got the Blackbeard, and now they've got the Blitz as well. So there's a lot of pressure applied from Pete and Pizza using these operators, and they're going to be looking to really capitalize upon that. Again, though, LDL, they're going to have some players down below. Team Synq need to deal with this before they start applying before they start looking upstairs. And I feel like the way we've seen them play these rounds, they're not really going to struggle with that.
I don't either see any grounds for them to come back from this as this is the sake so far. But I'm not counting them dead already, since that will be a little bit too early. But it will be hard for them. We mentioned it earlier. On the map of Skyscraper, you're always looking for a 5-1, at least a 4-2, and that is already not possible. And also here, yes, LDL found the first to open up this round, but VOD is there to yet again make it an equal and find that answer promptly enough to not lose much more time than needed.
Yeah, we've seen Lunawall and Zachariah really start to step things up. One of those operators has just been taken off, and it's the Vector as well, which we've seen Lunawall really enjoy and really like using on that Goyo. That's going to be taken away. That means that Lunawall now isn't going to have that use. Zachariah, though, still alive with the MP7, will find it unfalls, and half of the C4 has a kill of their own with the onto Pete. But now they've got to deal with the Blitz. They've got to deal with the Blitz and the Ace, and the plant can't really go down until they have site control. 4 versus 2, pressure will go on, and Synq will get taken down, and we'll be looking for another kill. Fod will get it, but Pizza's taken away. It is a 2 versus 1. Spots a player down, will confirm that kill, but it's not what they need to do right now. They need to find the others. They will not, and Elias will get that kill, the first round in favor of LDL Valour. Okay, that was changed up, Mighty. That was better done from them. But again, there's only so much you can stave off the inevitable here. Something needs to change for LDL Valour.
Yeah, something has to change for LDL Valour. Yes, they found the first round. They came in on round number 4 and made it count for them for the very first time. But if we take a look on Team Synq, how they performed on round 1 and 2 all the way through round number 3, and now in round number 4, it was a team of Synq relaxing a little bit. They can breathe more freely. They know for a second we have gotten 2 points. We've gotten the 3rd point that no one thought we will get in this very first half. And now they can relax a little bit. They can breathe up. And because they know, okay, the hard bit we have already done. We have concluded the hard bit. We're not finished up with the work yet. We can still win more rounds before we get into the second half. But that also gives themselves a little bit of the feeling of relaxing and also like already now prepping yourselves mentally for the second half when you say, okay, then in the second half, we have the Valour side. We are in our own defense. We feel comfortable on this map with our defense setups, with our defense strategies. And I would say, well, that is something that they can pretty much not only rely on, but also lean back upon.
But let's talk about the tension for LDL Valour, because they've just got around on the board, so that alleviates some of the pressure. But this is a 1-3 split so far on their defensive side. And we talked about how dominating these sides can be. They need, like I said, they need to change things up. They need to get this next round under their belt, in their favor on that barbecue karaoke, or barbecue kitchen, sorry. If they don't do that, you can pretty much look, they're pretty much going to be writing off this side in the heads. And going on to the attack, that might as well just be as good as writing off the whole game. They need to make sure that they can lock in and get this done right. Vertical pressure is going to be the name of the game here for whichever team is in control of it and whichever team is going to win. Frag grenades will go into Geisha, force these players out and get the UOT, which allows Fod and Unfalls to try and apply the pressure. It looks like it's just going to be Fod's getting that wall open. That makes sense. They don't need to overcommit players. They're just using that to make lines of sight so they can force these players off the vertical and allow for them to push into sight. Look at how many players are upstairs and how many are on site. Zacharado will find Fod.
And that's important. Fall off the board. Opening kill gained for LDL, and there's no refrag coming in, and that is the big change that we are seeing so far. But now Unfalls is dropping in, going in, getting the first kill, and Pete is already on site. Unfalls gets another one onto Elias, and we are on site already, folks. I was promptly to say, finally LDL picks up a kill and doesn't get any costs from it. But as soon as I wanted to implement and say it out loud, they have to pay hardly for it. And the way it is, from this point on out further, every single round that LDL now loses in this second half is yet again another neckbreaker. Unser here makes an equal 3-on-3. Important bits. Gain the access back onto the site. Gets to find where that Blackbeard is standing, or gets to find a kill onto Pizza, but Pizza's there on the outside balcony to deal that kill through. Pete now back on the diffuser. Zachariah figuring out the kill onto Pizza. That's important bits. But now Pete's in the position to fight against Zachariah. Solo gets Unser, finishes him off. Zachariah pits on the kill onto Solo. Now it's only Pete remaining against two. Well, this is clutchable, my dear folks, for Team LDL. And they need to clutch it out for the sake of having hopes to have a chance to make this round theirs and this map to be theirs at all.
Exactly, but no C4 in pocket. They're going to have to go for the rebound onto Luna. This gives an opportunity to Pete to even things out. They'll find the kill. Luna's taken off the board. The push has to come through from Zachariah. They have to take the flank with the Blackbeard because they know that this round is just over if they are not on that case. And because they are not, even though Pete's going to die, that doesn't matter. A 4K for Zach, but not a round clutch. And that's what's more important at the moment. Very well played from Synq. They looked into it. They got control of the site. And the rest of LDL didn't really do anything to take it back. They sat there waiting. And as a result, Pete was able to get the plant down. Yes, the frags went in favor of LDL, but the case, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Even if you need to have those 7 seconds on the clock, if you want to win out a round, Zachariah didn't. Good effort, not good enough.
And I have to say, I'm a little bit shocked for this map so far. Team Synq looking absolutely determined to take this map home and take this matchup home and live to fight another day. Meanwhile, though, when I'm looking back on my stats sheet, Team Synq has played this map 8 times this year in the Fract 2 seasons, and have a 4-on-4 equal stand, so they're winning only 50% all of their matches on Skyscraper. Meanwhile, LDL Valour has played it 13 times, winning 9 of those, making them win 70% of their matches on Skyscraper. And not only is this not an LDL showcasing that the stats don't lie for them, but this is yet again an LDL that we did not see on map number 2. That's an LDL that we saw on map number 1 in the very first 2 rounds, where they didn't get anything on the boards, counting a positive for them. And this is not a few rounds that I'm speaking of. I'm speaking about 5 rounds concluded and played through so far, and LDL, they're not look good.
Yeah, the thing is, they're now going, even though they've just been down to the barbecue karaoke, because they've won tea room karaoke, sorry, they're now going over towards home. They cannot go back to that position now, and the C4 will go out to try and kill Fod. but it's not going to be able to do the trick. In fact, it gets the utility off the wall. False will find the kill, and the home wall opens up, meaning the attack has got firm favor in the start of this round so far. Doesn't mean everything's over just yet. LDL Valour do still have an opportunity, and they still can get something, especially if they catch Unfalls at the moment. That is going to happen, though. Lunar Wall, with the quick peek, will find Unfalls and backs off. Takes a lot of damage to pay for it, but at least they've evened that scoreline now. But with the breaches open, it's still a big, big ask for LDL to make sure they can get a 2-4 split on their defensive side. Damage goes out, Zachariah takes a hit, doesn't get taken down, and in fact will be able to find Solo off the back of that.
Important bits here so far for both Zachariah and also Uncertainty to put down these players in the name of Solo and Unfalls along for Team Synq. But as we mentioned earlier, every single time it seems that like LDL finds the bits onto Team Synq. Synq is there to come back and make it an even. And as well, as soon as LDL has gained yet again another favor position, a favor of man count, Pete is there to make it an even once again. And you look onto the health bar, Zachariah and Luna are both low on HP. Meanwhile, all three, Pizza, Fod, and Pete are up on the best of health.
Yeah, exactly. Now, just a little reminder, Team Synq, they did better in the Swiss than LDL Valour. They came up 2 places above them. And even though they've had a worse bracket run, it looks like they've got a good chance to close down Sky. But again, look at that, 50 seconds left of 3 versus 3, and while the HP isn't great for LDL Valour, they still have time and opportunity. But with Vods still alive in this lobby, that might just be taken away. Pushing forward, look to confirm the kill, don't spot Uncert. With 1 HP, he's able to find the kill, gets the turn, and Zachariah gets revived. About 15 HP between these 3 defenders here, and 30 seconds left. The C4 goes out, gets the kill onto Pete, and it's all going to be down to Pizza to get the 5-1 split. They don't know where these players are. They don't have the drones in pocket, and they just need to win these gunfights. 3 defenders, 1 attacker, 20 seconds. The defenders just can't peek it. Lunar Wall holds the angle, gets the kill, and a 4-2 split for the side of Team Synq. Very strong, very good. Just not as good as Team Synq were expected to get there.
Thankfully for LDL, they made that 6th round count for them, making it a 4-2 split after the first half. And I was about to say an okay split. Well, that would have been one of the biggest lies in my caster career.
Yep.
As we all know, that nothing more, or nothing less than a 4-2 split from the defense from the first half going into the attack is an okay split.
And that is
a fine
not what we
split is
saw.
a 4-2 split from the defense into the attack is an okay split. A 5-1 is an away split, and a 6-0 is a perfect first half, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, this first half, either that LDL did win 2 rounds out of these 6, was so far away from a good half than possible.
2 rounds on the defense. He's not looking great. Going on to the attack, it's going to be in the mental. Yes, they won the last round, and yes, they had some really good plays in that last round to bring it back. Well, the question is it too little too late? I mean, they're not going back onto the defense unless we find ourselves in an overtime scenario.
5 seconds left.
What really is the way forward for LDL Valour here? Obviously, winning rounds is the kind of easy answer. How are they going to deal with this? I mean, Pizza's really been a key player, but then Unfalls has been amazing at getting in there, getting impact frags, and making these opportunities for Team Synq. On the defense, if they can cut these players off, that's a good opportunity. Fod will go out and try and get the C4 kill. Doesn't find his mark, doesn't put any bandit charges down, actually, until now. Because they want to just keep that utility, play for the gun, maybe. Omol will get open up, and LDL will start their own play. But look at the HP of Luna. You can barely tell that's 1 HP. Droning comes through. They spot the bandit. They do spot Fod over towards that exhibition side. As a result, that means that these attackers have to deal with this player. Fod's just going to pull back, and LDL still need to clear it out. It's just like we saw in Nighthaven. They spotted a roamer. They know they need to deal with it. They know they need to roam clear. They know they need to waste that time. Are they going to spot Zachariah, though? It looks like they do, but the Zachariah, no! Oh, nearly able to land the shots. Will just about be able to get Pete. How are you losing that gunfight? The Knock didn't even know you were there. And that's going to be Zachariah just running away on the same HP as Luna. All it takes is one smoke canister, one bandit charge to get a kill, or unfalls with a Vector to be able to find that up. Gets that refrag, pulls back to sight, and most importantly, evens out that score level.
But that Zachariah survived that scenario against Pete, and Pete got killed in that scenario is an absolute robbery. But there's only one person to thank for that, and that's Pete himself, and he does not react promptly enough and did not, quite frankly, act upon what was straight in front of his face. Well, that's just the way it is. But now Synq is here to ramp it up even more. Unfalls picks down Elias, and also Luna's taken away by Pizza, as it doesn't look like that Synq is here to give up yet another round for Team LDL. They're looking locked in, they're looking determined, and they want to put this map down for good and make this matchup count for them to fight another day.
Exactly. When you look at the lines of sight, you look at the map control LDL has, they've just got to push in through these choke points. Unstill take a lot of damage. The bandit charges on the wall will definitely hurt that as well. As the impact goes out, it'll take them down to 1 HP. Just like Luna, just like Zach, and now like themselves. Uncertain Half will each get a kill now. And 2 versus 2, this is looking better, but we're seeing this happen a little bit too late. One player towards Geisha is spotted, and that's going to be Fods. And as a result, they know that Fods is going to be holding that angle. They know that these players are going to be watching and waiting for this push to come through. The Flores drone comes through with 20 seconds. Uncert has to be close behind. Use the Flores drone, force these players out of those spots. Uncert finds Fods. It's all down to Pete. Pizza, who's not going to be able to win it out. Uncert on the main stairs gets that round and gets a round for the attackers that they just should not have won. The default cam taken away with 1 minute left on the clock, my team. The players, the deficit, the HP deficit. Oh, it should not have gone their way.
It shouldn't have gone their way, but I would say it's a lacking point of Team Synq not being totally awake and being clear of what is given of the scenario. Where are these players from LDL roaming to? Where are they dropping down? Where they're coming from? Where they're doing the second attempt of coming back up into this in the top floor? And where are they wanting to attempting their roam into the side? And there are like too many lacking points that are been drawn out of the perspective of Team Synq, as they have one player putting on a flank that is so far from not unknown that it is quite obvious where he's going for, and you just completely let him do it. You let him be. You're not having your eyes onto these staircases. You're not having eyes where they have to come intel from, and that's the way just you lose rounds. And LDL, they have to be more than happy and willing to take that round, because that round, as you mentioned, should not have gone in their pocket.
100%.
5 seconds left.
Now though, they're going to try and do it again because they got close. They should have won that round. We all agree, including them. So they're going to try that round again. They're going to have another crack at it, and this time they're going to try and win these gunfights and not let themselves get controlled. I feel like, for me in that last round, for Team Synq, just to tighten up that round a bit more, they just maybe even just get some props lights, get them on the main stairs. It doesn't deal with the knock, but it does deal with the ace dropping down main stairs to try and flank them. I want to see Team Synq put a lot more pressure on. If you can even see Fod get a kill, or at least keep that C4 for later in the round, then that's what I want to see. Maybe put some pressure over towards Exhibition, but the drone comes through. Uncertain doesn't spot anyone over there. And you can see Unfalls is going to stay over towards that Exhibition side. Fod gets spotted, but Pete's the one who will suffer for it. Getting taken down by Luna Wall. Zachariah finding Fod to pick it as well. Now, the last time we saw Skyscraper Mighty, it was attacker-sided in the Crown Zero versus Minions game. But I did not expect to see that happen now. Is that what we're seeing?
It seemingly is the way that we're seeing it, as Zachariah also gets his second kill here, makes it a double against Unfalls, and we're seeing Synq is being completely put under pressure here by LDL, a team that didn't look good, and also now the timeout, the technical timeout is being requested by Team Synq, as that is to be seen, and it is the most important time to do so, as we're just pretty much seeing a Team Synq struggling. But as soon as I say, we're cast a cursing LDL Valour, as both Pizza makes it a double and Solo makes it a double to make it an equal 2-on-2 man count for round number 8. Either way, is this the 5-3 stomp foot down on the ground, or is it the 4-4 equal? And it's surely about who will get the next kill that will determine how this round will go. Either LDL picks up the next kill and Idol has this round more or less safe for their cause, or Team Synq puts up yet another kill for their account, and they will have it for their cause. But this time it's Onser putting up Pizza to sleep, and now it's Solo. Solo, the guy that doesn't feel the most well so far in this matchup, is the bottom fragger so far for Team Synq coming in, and now he's being blocked out with these Goyo canisters. Another team gadget against its own man. Now we're on split on the defuse. The diffuser's been planted, and the angle's there onto that back stairs. There's no grounds to roam back in because there's fire everywhere. But now we have 30 seconds in.
Yeah, the HP there really isn't in their favor. Now they have gored off that player towards top dragon, but because of that Goyo, because of those lines of sight and that breach, you can see Uncertain holding. While they get one kill, they have to get the second. Do they know what this player is? Yes, they do! They get it! They're able to get that defuse down because they're just there in time! Solo, incredible solo play there to get that 2v1 win. But again, that's way too close for the side of Team Synq. They're lucky to get that round win. This is a badly needed timeout that we're going to see. Something has changed for the defenders. Something has changed for the attack. LDL a lot more confident, and they're a lot more coordinated in these end rounds, aren't they?
There's so much more coordinated in the end rounds, and it does count for both teams. Yes, Synq was struggling a lot for the take here of round number 8 by Team LDL, because LDL put a lot of pressure and did what Team Synq did to them the past 2 maps, like trying to crow down the space for the defenders so they have the less amount of roaming possibilities given, and that way you're having struggles with LDL concluding forward. But the way how Solo and Pete continue in is one of the most harshest ways possible seen, and I frankly don't know what's happening, because yes, LDL won round number 7, a round that they never should have won in the perspective of multiple counts, but then also Team Synq now wins out round number 8, makes it an equal on round wins that they should not have gotten in their pocket.
Yeah. I mean, we're having a bit of tech issues, so this time I was going to go a little bit longer, but that gives us time to really break down what we're seeing. I mean, round 7, like you said, LDL Valour shouldn't have won it, because it was a 2 versus 3, 2 versus 4 scenario with kind of major choke points that Team Synq should be holding, that LDL Valour was just able to get the flank on. They were able to drop a player down through that balcony, walk up the main stairs, and then suddenly that 2v2 turns into a 2v1. And that's when it gets a lot more difficult for the attack, because of the defenders, because they then have to deal with one player taking a gunfight and the other ready for a refrag. In that last round, I mean, that went pretty much the same way. LDL Valour, they had a 3 versus 3. They were able to pick up those kills thanks to Unsert, and as a result, then that plan actually got down because they got that next frag to follow. Realistically, Solo shouldn't have won that round. And if you're looking at it from a purely minute-by-minute breakdown of that round, until the very, very tail of that was an LDL round. This should be a lot closer than it is. And I feel like Team Synq, they really need to step things up if they want to keep this victory. LDL, they need to keep this going, but a lot earlier into the round. The coordination's there, the game sense is there. They just need to make sure that they're doing this from the get-go as opposed to the last minute.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But still, if we take back a look on the final scenario that we just saw, it's just 2-1 post-plan. You have one all the way deep down on the wall into Shrine. That was an easy kill for Solo. Why are you having an offensive peek into site when you have only 20... No, it wasn't 20. It was 16 seconds remaining on the defuse with 9 seconds active play before it's too late to get both kills and defuse all on the same time. Why are you having that offensive peak? The second of the things is, why do we have players putting down the diffuser behind half wall and then staying behind the half wall? It's the most obvious and plain sight position to withhold, and that's the most unforgiving position, especially as you see he can just promptly jump over the half wall and you can't even aim that high while prone. You're completely taking yourselves out of any given scenario to defend yourselves.
exactly. That's the big thing for me here.
5
They've
seconds
taken
to go.
themselves entirely out of the fight, which meant that 1v2 turned into a 1v1 essentially at the end.
Attackers are moving
Solo
out to
just
locate
won
a
that
bomb and
gunfight and was able
defuse
to take control. Just put a claymore down. If you don't put a claymore down, put a can down or something like that. Oh well, and them's the breaks. That's that round dealt with, and we are going to find ourselves going towards the CEO and exhibition side again. Last time we went here though, it was on the attacking side for LDL, and on the attacking side for Team Synq, and they did bring it back quite well. They were able to win out that last round of that first defensive side. LDL, they locked it down, they got these kills, and then you had 3 players waiting carefully on site. Now on attack though, they've got a lot to ask. That home wall's going to be opened up, but immediately met with the Azami. I think the first time we're seeing this operator since we played this series so far. And as a result, they're going to need to waste some more utility to deal with it. That's why you saw it banned out so quickly, because more utility wasted on Azami is less utility wasted on Breach, on mirror windows, on Vault cams. And with the Wamai to back that up, it's going to put a lot of pressure on towards the attacking side. They need to be smart about the utility usage. They need to be thoughtful about where everything is. And now, as they go into the attack, Elias is going to be on the IQ again. We'll be spotting out these pieces of utility and hopefully getting a little bit of an advantage for LDL Valour. Bit of damage onto Peter, not going to be able to find the kill though.
Not able to find a kill, but found a little bit of damage on the Peter. But that is all that he got from that gunfight so far. That is a very interesting and high-risking jump in there on top of Shrine, especially because you have all these Azami gates behind it, and Fod is making them count as he just moves freely between the wall and the mirror window and his Azami gates, and he is just not having any second doubts about his swings or like his approaches in. But now you have a second one holding that angle deep onto Shrine, and he only gets bullets onto Fod but doesn't get them to be so lethal enough that Fod falls through.
Exactly, the Wamai coming in massive there as Unfall's able to find half. Meant that Fod was able to back up and stay alive for this late round. Looking towards Terrace, cover off the player of Solo. Gonna be Elias taking that pick though. Might not be expecting the second player behind the window. No, they're not. The peak comes out. Elias falls. And a 2 versus 4. 40 seconds left on the clock. Team Synq looking to put us here on the defense onto a match and series point and knock LDL Valour out for good. They gotta win this round first. They have to do the vegetables before they can get to the dessert, and that's what this round is. Again, LDL Valour, a 2 versus X scenario. Zachariah can put pressure on the main stairs, but they don't want to do it just yet. They need to coordinate this push. The break will start to come through. They start to move forward. The C4 goes out. It doesn't find its mark. It doesn't get its kill. And now it's going to be Zachariah pushing forward. Finds Pete. Has to push up the stairs. Doesn't know that there's a player there. Now they do. They're going to know where Unfalls is. But as Solo gets uncert, it might just be everything over with 30 seconds. Or not even 30 seconds. 30 microseconds. That round's going to end. And that's going to be Team Synq going to go to match point and series point as well.
So either team saying close it is out for good now, or LDL is up for the challenge and closing down 3 potential match points in a row. And I have to say, we should be non-biased about this. We should not be one-sided or like team favoring for one of these two parties. Or we have to say, by any grounds given, if Synq gives this away to make this go to overtime for LDL, this is a complete robbery. I have to say the way it is. LDL is putting up good plays. They're having good ideas behind it. They have good thoughts of how they want to do it and how they want to attack it. But already the first half was so non-saying of LDL for this map of Skyscraper that I have to say the way it is. From my perspective on, the way LDL performed so far and has concluded their rounds, they do not deserve to come back and give this to an overtime.
If they do it, it's Team Synq's game to lose, really. They have to play the perfect game of Rainbow Six Siege, and I know I said it before, but now they really do. Because now, they've got to win 3 rounds. And if they win those 3 rounds, that pushes us to overtime. And if they go to overtime, then it's infinite overtime. Just to remind everyone, as it's now going to be moving forward in this season so far, for the rest of playoffs, infinite overtime means that you have to be able to string 2 rounds together consecutively. Otherwise, it's just going to keep going. You're just going to keep giving Team Synq more opportunities. But if they can make it happen, if they can get to that overtime position, The mental of Team Synq is going to change massively. They're going to be in a situation where they've just lost 3 rounds on the board, and now they need to win another 2 with the side swap included. So, LDL Valour, it's not all over. If they can get to that overtime point, they've got a good chance. They've got to get there first. The Twitch is going to be brought for the first, possibly the first time this map as well, to try and deal with utility, especially those mirror windows, but the mute jammers are going to be the big problems they find themselves with. Half, very quickly taking control of that drum side, starting to push up towards the T-room and get this verticality ready. C4 goes out, doesn't find its mark.
Does not find its mark, and we are pretty much just waiting to see who falls first, who will gain the first opening frag. We see some damage coming in for on falls, but it's hard falling first to Fod, as Fod is opening up the party for round number 10, and he's making it count for Team Synq already now on match point, and also got 1.5 player off the boards of LDL.
Exactly, 4 kills away from going up against the winner of Entropy versus MG Minions, but they have half the round to go through now, and 4 attackers still left to go. Aware of the verticality, Zachariah has to be careful pushing forward, they need to be aware. But now, as we hit that halfway point in the round, there's only really 1 player in karaoke, because they're starting to drop down. It is the kitchen barbecue site, so now they just need, the defenders need to make sure they keep control of that. They can get the verticality done, they just start applying pressure. A lot of castle barricades here are going to cause a lot of issues for the remaining soft breach. That sledge being taken away is a big problem for that reason. It's going to be down to the Ash and the memes, and with time ticking down, it's going to be a very difficult ask to find it. Player spotted over towards storage will not be taken down, but it will give the information. They know someone's there, they need to be aware. We're coming over towards the hatch, and Falls is able to find Zachariah. Solo's looking for the kill as well. Synq gets a kill, but Lunawall has an answer. Will be taken down very quickly by Fod, and Uncertain needs to find 4 kills to keep us in it. And as Lunawall leaves as well, it seems like the morale is gone, the mental's broken, and the rip comes out, and so finds Unfolds. The confidence shaken in the team, and it's going to be Synq to shut it down. And that is it. LDL Valour are knocked out of Season X. Team Synq will move forward.
Team Synq will move forward to live and fight yet another day, and they will compete against the winners, as you mentioned, on the next matchup coming up tomorrow, of the names of Entropy and MG Minions. For the sake of Team Synq, I think they are hoping for Minions to make it, as they have had more wins previously against Minions than they've had against Entropy. Always struggling a little bit here and there on the team of Entropy. They're biting the teeth off on Entropy multiple times in the previous seasons, in the previous tournaments. So I think they were hoping for Minions, but that will to be determined tomorrow, as they will have enough grounds, enough matchups to watch tomorrow, enough maps to watch them and tomorrow when the cast concludes. And I hopefully say that they have enough knowledge, enough staff members in their team to watch the footage of tomorrow's game coming up here at ESA tomorrow on the same time as we did today, all over here on 7:30 CEST. So, tomorrow's game will pretty much determine who then gets to fight another day all the way back. Then we will have the concluded match up against Entropy Minions against Team Synq, and then the match over there will pretty much declare and send one of the teams in the lower bracket final, where already Team Ghost Army waits. And I would say LDL is kicked out. I think Minions have still an open bargain to take on with the Team Ghost Army, but they have 2 more matches to win to figure out a way of having their revenge in a potential lower bracket final. But else, I would say the team of Ghost Army waiting in the lower bracket final is definitely a hefty team to also be witnessing in and also do prep yourself upon. But else, there are 2 more rounds for the grounds taken in perspective before that matchup goes into the conclusion phase. But else, I would say I was mighty. I was more than blessed of being here. Had much fun to cast alongside you, McCready, as always. And for that sake, I will say the last words always are yours.
Thank you, Phil. It's been a pleasure to have you here for Season X, and we know we're seeing you, the end of you for this season, but we're not really entirely seeing the end of you forever, so we'll see you around in a bit. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you again for Unnamed Gamer for observing, and for Nanos Allied to be producing and bringing the game to see on your screen as beautifully as it is. A big shame for LDL Valour. There's a lot to learn from, but unfortunately nothing to bear fruit this season because they are now out, and Team Synq will move forward. So check it out tomorrow, and we'll find out who they're going to be facing in the lower bracket semi-final. Thank you for watching, and good night. Face just opened up, and now Ludable has to watch the backside.